And you got Eric too. That's so cool. For
Yeah.
Yep.
In 2 weeks, yeah. So
2 weeks. Yep.
I'll have a topic for next Sunday. And I didn't, and we'll talk about, you and I can figure out what we want to do for Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so what's up, Lando? First to arrive. Make sure I'm doing a test here. Good. Whew, works. I didn't test that.
Good. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Maybe not. Hold on.
Okay. Uh-oh.
I forgot to click on that. Hopefully it doesn't screw the stream up. Awesome. Can you guys hear me now? Oh, loud and clear. Good.
Yep.
Awesome. Good. A Saturday night.
Yep.
Makes my wife very happy because we're having a lot of people over tomorrow, and just that, people would be here even up to 8 o'clock tomorrow night. So
Yep.
yeah. So it's good. Start getting these wrapped up here.
Yep. Yeah, get done. I'll try to fill the shoes here a little bit. So
Yeah.
our problem was that both Linda and me, we got so caught up in what we're doing, is we didn't say much. We were just sitting there working.
Which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Kind of. Oh yeah, that's true. But yeah.
Awesome. Whoop, wrong button. There's my first wrong button of the night. Alright, I hit the same ad twice, so. Hey, LJ. Hey, Phantom. Hey, Patrick. Alright. Tim will be on time. Right around 8, so that's good. So if you all don't know, I just had a hysterically illuminating conversation in Cannon Fire. I haven't been on Cannon Fire a lot because there's so much work, Anna. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then I posted something on Twitter. And I was like, I can't help myself. I'm probably, but I was like, oh my God.
Are you posting dates
I actually called out Crawford and Chris Perkins in the yeah.
again?
Oh, this time it's yeah.
Uh-oh.
This is the moment. As I put, oh yeah, you'll see.
Right there to go on. Okay.
Oh, just wait. It'll be priceless.
Okay.
I think you'll agree with me, Anna. I think in this case.
I'm sure I agree with you when you go on the ramp. I usually agree with you.
This is so funny. Oof, I thought they were joking with me. Hey, Tempest. Oh, so LJ, where are they? Are they downstairs? I think your character sheets are downstairs. Oh, no, here they are. Here they are. Nice! So, Malik made 5th. Bree, but, and Maram is now 3 fighter, 3 monk. Fighter abilities, but he got another level in monk. So, there you go. Awesome. But I've been out of it with real life work this week. It's been brutal. So I'm just getting mentally back into it. Like when I hopped on your stream the other night, Anna, I'm cold. I was sick.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I was exhausted. So we got 2 Troller Games gift certificates tonight, And by the way, next Saturday we have at least 8, because they're going to get for my 1,000th stream. Good morning. See, look, this may be good for a lot of people catching us on a Saturday night on a talk show. So this may work.
Join the fray.
Yep, get in on that $10 digital GC. Well, that's good. Perfect timing if it's 7 a.m. your time. Bright and early, man. Breakfast with breakfast here.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did I forget here? It's like, you know, it's been 7, and I'm like, what did I forget? I feel like I forgot something, you know, but I haven't. So, hey, Jeff, thank you. I'll make sure to pop that up shortly. Yeah, Tim's not here yet, but he should be here any minute. So, the ever mysterious. I really lost my train of thought here with this campfire discussion. I was like, oh my god! Oh. Alright. Comical when you think about everything, so.
Yeah.
So Anna, we got you tonight, Wednesday, and Sunday next week.
We'll see. I can come on now and then. So
right,
we can do it on a per way.
All right, cool. We'll keep the communication channel open, which is good.
Yeah, because it depends on how my schedule is and where I'm about and stuff.
Hey, John. Oh, look at that. A head train almost already. 40 months, John. Have I known you that long? Holy jeez. Holy.
Awesome.
Crazy. No, it's gotta be you, Dale. It looks good, man. I'm hoping it's just you. You may want to it's a Saturday night, so there may be you may be having some bandwidth issues. But it looks clear here.
He has a lot of neighbors that watch Netflix, maybe, or something. Yeah.
I'll ask Naz, are you having any stream connectivity issues? Does anyone else? Really?
Uh-oh.
It may be Twitch. It may be. You may want to drop the resolution down on this one only, and then put it back up. Yeah, it looks good on my end here. Yeah, it Twitch.
Yeah.
It's got to be because it's a Saturday night and oh jeez. I'm not dropping frames at all. Stream looks it looks good. Oh, Patrick, say. Thank you. Try reducing resolution. Try reducing the resolution if you can. If you're streaming in 4K, knock it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because seriously, I don't know, how about yours? Is yours all right?
I'm watching it on Zoom, so.
All right, and you box it out.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I have actually the last streams I've had no problem, and I even dual stream to Linda's YouTube as well as my Twitch, and we haven't had any issues lately, so it's been good.
So guess what? Yeah, it's got to be Twitch. Broadcasting is clear. It's way behind it was way behind. Hey, Nerdy Guide. All right, everyone, hang in there, please. Hopefully it'll clear up. All right, let's hopefully with some patience here as Twitch is twitching. Let me get on the main screen here. What am I doing? I hit that. I need to shut up for John. Getting better. It should, because as remember, I'm a partner, so I should be getting priority bandwidth. So sit tight. I'll keep an eye on my output, but the delay on Twitch is long because it's still showing my entry screen, and we're here. So there is a big delay right now on it. I'm still not switched over to my screen. So yeah. It is behind here, so let me see some things going on. Welcome, good evening. Yeah, so Anna, you and me with our shirts. So
yep, exactly. I have my shirt on today, so yep.
Yeah. I would say, is the chat delayed too? Yeah, I'm gonna freaking partner flex them MFers
but
here.
It popped when you typed it in Zoom. It popped up on the chat like immediately after. So that was not delayed for me.
It's catching up. So we're a little bit behind. Good. It's getting better. It's getting better. We shall overcome. So good evening. Yep. Saturday night. So I appreciate everyone. So tomorrow night, Anna, we're having a big party at my house, and kind of here. Well, mine's the purple, and Anna's got the black.
Yeah, the dark. Yeah, almost. It's so dark. It is black. Yeah, it is black. Yep.
Yeah, so I give out a lot of the shirts, LJ. So you know, I do. I give out a lot. So here we go. Troller Games giveaway tonight, which is awesome. Thank you all for coming on. So I'm gonna wait. If it's clearing up, I had this discussion on just now on Cannon Fire. So I ship it out directly, LJ. So let's talk. Let's chat let's chat on Discord. All right, I'll get you something. No problem. Because you guys are gonna be back more. So I'll get you some more.
Thank you so much for today. We had a wonderful conversation.
Oh, that's good. Great. You talked to him. Oh, that's great to hear.
Yep, it was.
That's great to hear.
So
cool.
Yep.
Really
awesome
cool to hear.
And we had a great discussion.
I'm going to throw this right out there already. All right, so I thought you all were lying to me. I really did. I at first, let's just start with this fun. All right, good. That's good to hear. We're getting all caught up. I really thought you all were lying to me on this. And
teasing you.
I was like, what the frick? Just Anna.
Yep.
The next book that they're coming out, they made Bigby a gnome.
Well, we haven't seen the last screw up from Wizard of the Coast apparently, but this one is not directly to gamers. So yeah. But we can now safely say that we don't need to pay that much attention to whatever they do that is related to Greyhawk.
Oh my gosh!
That must be some,
so if you all go on my Twitter feed, if you don't know, and I sent a message out to D&D, Wizards of the Coast D&D, and Chris Perkins and Crawford directly, and I'm getting a lot of replies back. And I just was like, what the? I couldn't believe it. I mean, this is like, and I said it right in this thing.
I
This,
thought it was just a rumor that I just heard someone mention somewhere, like a comment, oh, is he in Nome? And I was like, what are they talking about?
Yeah,
But now
yeah.
when you say it, now I
Oh
realize
my
so
gosh.
it's actually something that is happening. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh wow.
All good,
But
LJ.
that's good. Then we can just ignore what they're doing. So
Yeah, we're gonna have to. But
Yeah,
no.
well,
But as I said in chat on Discord in Cannon Fire, this is like it's like having
it's
Trump.
not so big. Yeah.
It's like having Trump as president for the media.
Mhm.
It's just like it's like it's chum for us.
It's not only politics that is
Oh,
screwed up. Now we have D&D
it's
screwed
just-
up too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I went on Twitter and I rant sometimes, and people, they probably think
Yeah.
this guy's a crazy guy. I didn't care. Just
Yeah, please indulge us. I'm
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
This
so,
is much fun.
because here we go here. Laughing out loud. Bigby is a gnome. What is wrong with you all? Wizards D&D, Chris Perkins, Jeremy Crawford. Do you know your Greyhawk lore? Retcons suck. I am hoping this is just a spoof. This is your Highlander 2. So I thought that was my best line. I said that on camera. I said, you know what? I'm going to go back and edit. I'm going to go back and edit. Because it's like, it's just like Highlander 2 The Quickening, right?
Yep.
I have fucking
I
Planet
liked it,
Zeist.
so, yep.
What the hell's that all about, right?
Yep,
So
wow.
yeah. And I said, if you want some good ideas, reach out to me. It's freaking.
Oh,
Come on, you gotta
wow.
make it funny. It's funny. This is comical. So
Yeah, this is comical. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
so just there can only be one D&D. Yeah, exactly.
Well, he might be
Oh.
reincarnated and missed the role or something like that.
Oh
we
my
can make a laugh
gosh! Let me
out
see.
of
I'm
that.
getting notifications here. Okay, you like that? That's good.
Yep,
And
mhm.
so I'm getting some. Yeah. Cal stamps.
Yep.
Yes, and Bigby was Rob Kuntz's character, not Gary's. That's true too. So and Rob Kuntz. If anyone tells, let Alan Growy tell him, not me. I'm not telling.
Oh, yeah,
him.
exactly.
Oh my gosh!
I'm
So-
sure someone has told him already. So, yeah.
So
Oh, dear.
it's
Yep.
fun. We had some fun. By the way, hopefully it's clearing up for everyone. It seems to get quicker and quicker and quicker on there. But just note that we had a little fun with that in chat. There you go. Make a lord check. Actually, yeah, with a disadvantage, you got to roll 10 20-sided die and take the lowest. Oh my! So Tim said he has some family drama. He'll try and get on as soon as he
Mhm.
can.
Yeah. So now you have to since I've only known this topic for like an hour or so, so
Yes.
I have no real clue. So what's the thoughts behind this?
So Greyhawk. Now we talked about DMing. With
Tricks?
class, we talked
Yeah.
about tricks, and this is the one that I want to delve a little bit deeper in, and that is you have your classes, or you have a classless system like you have.
Mhm. But there's still skills and abilities. and all that.
Exactly. So
mhm.
so like what would you do to flavor those, or tailor those
Yeah.
to further affect and make it your Greyhawk game
Mhm.
better? I think
Yeah.
I've done some of that. So you would have wagered cash. Yeah, you should have. Dale. You should have thrown up the cash there. Yes, normal throw them. So I'm sorry. The other thing is this. I'll go to Eric Mona next year for the fundraiser and say, Eric, I don't have to do Child's Play. I'm gonna do the alternate WotC Hasbro world of Greyhawk, and they're all going to slip into that side world, in the bizarro Greyhawk world.
We can make we can make like a theater play with all the
Hey, Wiley.
screw-ups and yeah.
Absolutely, it's going to be bizarro Greyhawk. That's what's going to
Yeah.
be.
mhm.
Oh my gosh. So all right, back to this now.
Yep.
Back in the day, Player's Handbook First Edition. Some classes had abilities, right? Rangers had tracking. Okay. Paladins had protection from evil in 8.
Mhm.
Yeah, Druids had shape change, which is an ability. So, hey, Lavelle, and thank you. But then when this Unearthed Arcana book came out, it kind of went a little bit more full tilt. and that's where I want to start. So I want to start with the Arcana book, and then just talk about. Of course, well, no problem, and hopefully you get together that fundraiser I saw you were posting. Um, so how do I know that they didn't start them? There's Josh. Even Josh is on, man. So it's like Memorial Day weekend, guys and gals. Oh my gosh, I'm here on a Saturday night. We had a nice day today. Did a lot of yard work. Did we went out to dinner. It was good. What was the Big B's Now Unknown announcement made? Is there a source for this claim? Yeah, you can look all over the place, man. It's dude. I thought it was a spoof too. Oh my gosh, I really thought it was a spoof. Instead of mouth, yeah. Oh my, it's gonna go on. It can go on all day, night, and chat. Everyone, just have fun with it. Oh my gosh, just so ridiculous. Unearthed Arcana came out, and it compiled a lot of stuff that was in Dragon magazines. Some good, some bad, right? Some I like better in Dragon, some I like better here. We know about all that, but it really got to the point where, and these class level limitations are ridiculous, right? That's my opinion. Just you're stat racing with some of these, so let's skip all that. You got your races.
But one of the interesting things, people who never played old school have to realize that everything, there were no skills that came in. You had
Skill checks really weren't existing.
Yeah, you had background skills with the first one, and then you had weapon.
Yeah, and that's where we are.
So there were some experimentation and alternate rules and optional rules and stuff for that, but skills as we know them in modern rule sets, more modern rule sets, were not introduced until 3rd edition, really. So things were, meaning that there were thieves had a whole bunch of what we would call skills and stuff. So they were everything was class based. Class was a stronger concept in the 1st edition and have been kind of diluted in some ways through the various editions, and with subclasses and archetypes and all sorts of things and you can make, when you introduced feats, you can choose more things. In the beginning, it was like a class was, everything belonged to a class, told you, or kind of gave you all the options basically. And that was, and I think it comes to the war gaming roots of D&D, but but it's interesting to see that the abilities and stuff were there, and various features and whatever you call them, things that a character could do, they were tied to your class. There was still a lot of variety, but it was within each class, so to speak. And you had a myriad of cool things, and that's one of the benefits with 1st edition, both a benefit and a problem. And I want to, because I can see it from both ways, is that 1st edition, meaning if you look at especially the modern, especially Pathfinder 2 and a lot of the other rule sets, everything function according to the same rules, which is very easy when you have to learn things and when you want to rein in math and stuff, meaning everything functions according to the same rules. But in old school D&D, or AD&D, especially 1st edition, you had various subsystems that worked in completely different ways, meaning the most infamous version is that the close combat little chart in the Dungeon Master's Guide, and then you have psionics that had a completely different rule system and worked in a completely different way. So there were a myriad of subsystems that didn't follow the same rules and the same patterns, and it was completely different. And that is make it more difficult to learn and remember. But the cool thing with it is that you had real variations. If a character had psionics, for instance, that meant that they had something that functioned mechanically even completely different. And that is something that I both miss from old school, and sometimes I'm so grateful that we don't have it, so to speak. So I don't know which foot I'm going to stand on, because sometimes it's one of the things that when it struck me was when I read that everything was spells, every magic possible that you had in some rule system is just a form of spell. They all come with casting with the same limitations and the same mechanics as a spell, and you just call them different things, and that was kind of boring. I want them to have meaning. Should a witch cast spells exactly the same way that a wizard does it? Fourth edition was notorious because everything was just powers that way, and so the mechanics of this is one side of it, and then you have the flavor and how it ties into the story of the game, and that's another side to it, and I think all of these sides are, and ways of viewing it, are all important. It's just that that's the difficult with rules. You have to there's a lot of different aspects to it that you have to look at it all at once. Yeah.
Thanks, LJ.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was really kind of you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this is an additionless. Hopefully, there's going to be discussion in my 1E 2E game because it's my channel, the campaign.
Yeah.
But note, Wayne, thanks. We already had a hype train, so but I'll add something to the giveaway for this. Thank you, Wayne, too. This is going to go on a bit. But this could apply to any edition too. This could apply to Castles and Crusades, Pathfinder, especially Pathfinder 2, Anna.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, let's go over. Here's where I noticed it a lot, and that is the Barbarian in 1E in Arcana, because it's really how do you take a character and just a Barbarian and make it different than a fighter? What do you do? Like, besides, it's got die 12 for hit points and a crazy experience table, and they give them enhanced saves and things like that. But then you come down here. Here's your differences as your early on abilities, right? They made some changes. Yep. Let's go. That's it. Absolutely. I tune in. Yep. Oh, nice, Will. Will, like I said, you're welcome to hop on too. Tim is running late, so you're welcome to hop on. All right, I always said that is you'd be good in this discussion. How many of you use secondary skills for money? We're going to talk about that. So I do a lot, and Tim's supposed to come on, and you can't see me now. This is going to go on a while.
you
forget
disappeared
that.
after 10 minutes.
We're going to go wilderness. This is going to be our first discussion ever on the channel. Hold on, I'll get it real quick. Woohoo! For these, first time ever we've talked about wilderness and dungeon survival guides. So note, that'll be good. That we'll do that.
Yep. I have mine too, and these are actually well-traveled books because I had them with me on lots of my travels when I read them. They were when they came out, they were my favorite books by far, especially the wilderness guide. I was blown away how cool that was.
So these are skills and abilities, well, and they tell stats. These are not feats, okay? And there's a difference, and we'll get into that. But these are skills, and these are different than thief skills. Barbarian character has the final. I'm trying to blow this up as far as I can with that. Climb cliffs and trees. Notice it doesn't say walls, but it says as thief of the same level. So they're trying to distinguish it. So they can't climb walls. Barbarians, they climb like rock formations and trees. Hide in natural surroundings. Another one.
To me, that was nitpicking, ridiculous nitpicking. Yeah, that was nitpick. It was siloing for to me dumb reasons, so to speak. So I just said climbing, period, and then someone said, "Oh, but that makes them so powerful and whatnot," and so on and so forth. So that was.
So note the following. This is a synopsis of stuff that we do, and every DM's different, but I think that there's a they can't climb smooth walls. No, if you read into this, no.
But anyone who's seen a natural rock wall, a granite wall with very few cracks in it, realize that's more difficult than a castle wall often. So it's. So if it's natural, man-made, doesn't necessarily need to mean if it's better or worse. But there's another thing that I think we need to keep in mind when it comes to these old things from first edition compared to more modern versions of it, is there is no difficulty class. you just have a percentage that you can, meaning all the walls seems to be equal, or at least you have an equal chance no matter what the wall or there's no difficulty classes in it. You of course you can introduce pluses or minuses to the roll and stuff, but those were arbitrary. They were not built into the rule system per se, so to speak.
Right, and that a lot is not built into the rule system.
Yeah.
And early on, and you have to, as a good DM, you have to do that. Those
Mhm.
penalties. I always the ability I hated or skill I really despised was pickpockets early on.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that because it's based on a fourth level character. But if you're like 12th level thief running around, you're like,
Yeah.
shmoop, shmoop, shmoop,
When you
can't see
get
me.
100%, should you always pickpockets? There were no fumbles and it was
Right.
based on the percentage,
Right.
which to me and that also shows that you were
Yeah, you
based
had-
on the skills were percentile, but all the other basic stuff like hitting someone in combat were based on the d20. So
Yep.
so there were a lot of different subsystems. So I that was something I really enjoyed in 3rd edition, that you have difficulty classes, that different things could be different. Difficulty could differ from task to task using the same skill
did.
from situation to situation. That was built into the rule system. I really like that.
Yeah, and it was based on a 4th level character, Mike, as well. So if you were a 10th level, that's times 6. That's 30% off the pickpockets. I agree. That was very
Yeah.
basic. But like thieving abilities, you can apply penalties. Now remember
Mm-hmm.
this: like barbarians in my game, climbing is no big deal because we're usually outdoors as opposed to indoors. So don't trust me. Hey, I have the thing up, so it's my fault for doing all the all the repeats of Legends of the Secret picks. So barbarians had some abilities, even detect magic, which
Mhm.
spell-like effects, and we'll
Well,
talk about.
they were supposed to hate it or be scared of it,
Right.
or want to destroy it. So they
Absolutely.
were anti-magic kind of characters.
How many of you use like things like this? The first aid ability. My guys do. This is the first time healing outside of a spell occurs, in the rules right out of combat. So
Yep.
they have this ability to bind wounds, set sprains, kind of what we did with maesters, but maesters are a little bit better than this, and we'll hopefully get to the maester too. They have tracking, but there's some cool abilities in here. Look at that. So with Tim not on, and I asked him, we got someone else. You'll all love William Henry Dvorak back again.
Oh,
Yeah!
awesome.
All right,
Hello.
dude.
Hello.
All right.
That's good.
Is that what it is? You guys are doing pretty good all on your own.
Yeah. First aid's a great ability. Outdoor craft is another one that predict weather is a huge ability for a barbarian, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
It's so weird that rangers didn't have that ability and
That's
barbarians
true.
got it.
that's so
and
true.
that's the other thing. They bolted system that was very much. It was not thought through and then published. It was published make resources back then. So we had to wait years for Get the Unearthed Arcana. Had the money to publish them, so they couldn't write all the that we are used to today. So back then,
Unearthed comes out in 85. Okay, so I'm wondering which one comes first, because I pulled this. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. Or first edition.
that one. I think that one was
Oh!
after. Yeah.
Because this has a full-blown skill system in it.
Nice,
Yes.
great
Mhm.
one. We can discuss that too, Will, because
Yep.
I completely skipped that
Yep.
because I knew I wanted to get to the Dungeoneer guides too, but we could talk about all that in the skill system there too.
Mhm.
And that was the first, because that's a full rule set that they have there.
Yes.
That
it
was integrated into it, whereas
Mhm.
Unearthed sub little,
Yeah, and
so forth
I
and
think
things.
that we have to realize that Unearthed was kind of old almost when it came. Stuff had been published piecemeal in Dragon and in other places that just
Right.
bundled it up and errata. But Oriental Adventures were kind of an expansion 5 edition, but it was definitely a take. It was like the that they did Pathfinder Unchained for they did
Yeah.
an alternate rule book that had more advanced new variants.
Test stuff out,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
it wasn't
can
the main line, it was over
Yep.
here. So I would
Mhm.
like to find out too when Hallowed Earth came out. I think that's later. But
Yeah,
Hollow Earth is where they introduced all the skills for basic dungeons. That appears
yeah.
before they go into the
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
book, the
Yeah.
not folio, I forget what they call, where they took all of encyclopedia, the Dungeons and Dragons encyclopedia. So that's why you can see like the Hollowed Earth box set goes for so much.
Yeah.
Well, hell, everything D&D goes for so much.
Yeah. And both of
Anymore.
these were 1986.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after
So
Unearthed
they
it
were a
came
year
in.
after. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I remember I had both of them when I went on vacation that summer, and I read them like crazy. I went into various places in the Mediterranean.
Those are the only
and stuff.
two I don't have. Believe
Well,
it or not.
Really?
to me, they were like, yeah. And-
I just don't pull the trigger. It's like I keep looking.
Yeah.
I'll watch the auctions,
Yeah.
and it's like, nope, that's crossed over
Mhm.
into I'm not spending that
Yeah.
much range.
Yeah, and I remember the guy that ran the game store that I wasn't part owner of that yet of a game store, so when I bought it, and he said, I don't like this book, was the first he said, and I said, why? I seem to it looks awesome, and I said, no, because the code is you don't die
Right,
of thirst and starvation, whatever. He would care.
That's
That was
right.
it. So he kind of he sold it joke, but he kind of said that real heroes don't need these damn rules.
I gotta say, when they first came out, and I went through them, because what was the one? They overprinted them, and I think anybody remember where they packaged them both and they
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. Wow.
and they stuck an adventure in to boot because they
Oh.
printed so many of them and they had them in backstock.
Oh, I can't remember that. I
What
just
was the
remember-
adventure? Does anyone remember that?
That I don't know. That would be good. And I remember going through them because I was over at a buddy of mine's house and he got it. And I remember going through it the first time because of the volume of, or I should say, the lack of art.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that they had so many rules that they were sticking in there and different things they wanted to talk about. It's like, well, we ain't got room for them. No. I mean, there's some good pieces in there, but still, on the
Oh
average,
yeah,
it's
there's
not
some
as much.
there's some even some full
There's some
page stuff,
classic,
but
yeah.
they are very meager when it comes to
Yeah,
art. They are
yeah,
full
yeah.
of tables and stuff. So if you love nitty pitty or whatever and roll tables, this is the book
Right.
for you. And back then I loved it. Today it like this, but back then I was like, this is so cool. And I taught and
No, Anna tortured someone? No.
oh
I find
yes,
that hard to
yeah,
believe.
they had to starve
No.
and run out of water and God knows what, so to speak.
Moose 2271 says in Hidden Ways,
Okay.
Yeah.
but both of them, there's somebody before that, BB Fan Fun said it as well.
Very cool.
I'd have to look that up. I don't know where that is.
So I want to. We're gonna go back to '83 real quick and just talk about this as well. And I want to note some things here. So Arthur Collins, one of our favorite classes, Dragon, is the Duelist, and let's just take a look here. They got some of the really coolest ones, and this is where. Once again, I've talked about I talked about this in the duelist school, having one in each, and having these guys or gals. I have a lot of female duelists. They can be antitheses, or they can be pains in your behind, or they can be right. They have abilities which are unique to this, and this. When I saw this, and it goes all the way back. Well, fine. If they can do something like this, I can do this with whatever I'm running, whatever I'm making. And for example, and Casey loves this ability, parrying the death blow.
Yeah, that's good.
First edition, think about this. If they get down and a hit takes them down to 0 points, we're not talking about monsters, we're talking about weaponry. They get to save versus death magic and spells. If they succeed, they indicate no damage. That could be even a critical hit. So think about that. This is an ability they're dual wielding and they can parry the death blow. First edition, when you think about it. And then they can do it a second time for half damage, and then third time they can't do it unless they get a monster ability for. I know this is supposed to be an NPC class initially, but if you balance everything, you can turn it into. I know I'm talking.
I think everybody used those NPCs.
Yeah, except like Deathmancer and Anti Paladin, right?
Oh, I'm sure somebody.
He's a PC. He even said that live multiple times. And some of the other abilities, if you're using 2-weapon combat, it's one less. There you go. Another ability, fear resistance. I really like the identify the magical properties of a weapon, which is they get a 5% actually know that, oh wow, this sword's got massive crit or whatever. I thought it was neat. So on is 1983, and this is a class that has a really cool special ability.
Well,
Also,
they were working on
Mhm.
I shouldn't say working on, but after RuneQuest came out in '78, the guys over at TSR, their homebrew rules on feats and different types of, because that was like the first, that's all skill. So that had been kicking around. I'm surprised, to tell you the truth, that it took as long as it did for them to actually start working it in. This is '83. I bet you there's other stuff that's even earlier going back than '83.
And there is. I'm just using this as an example in my campaign, right? Because, like, for example, we go back to Dragon 39. You have the Anti Paladin, poison
Mhm.
brewing, right? Backstab ability, and they're not a thief, right? They're wearing um also, hey Caesar, there is a chance. There's an slight chance that Roger Moore may hop on later if he's able to. But
Yay.
here's the whole half ogre starting in 29. So I had someone go, half ogre's canon. I was like, yeah, half ogre's right here, and it's in also Best of Dragon Volume 3. I think it was a discussion on Facebook. Um, Talking about, Gygax wrote the original, and just so with all the age brackets and everything that you need, and once again, it's in that Best of Dragon. So, and if it's Gary Gygax at this time in 1983, it's Greyhawk. Realms doesn't exist yet, right? So there you go.
Right.
Yep, yep. Just all I got to say is be patient on the lag. It is a Saturday night. I think it's over, and it should clear up as I go. As I stream longer and longer and longer, being a partner, it should clean up. So see you, LJ, and I'll get that out to you ASAP. And we are good. Have a good one. Yeah, lurk if you can. All right. Whoa. We don't want to show that yet. Arcana. So Arcana is where I see they're going skills, abilities. Lots and lots of them at this point. With other look, and they even have like, they expand on tracking, they expand on a lot of things. Then the big one hits in this of all time, and that is what, Anna? The biggest change of all time is here. It's right here.
Still using Thaco, so I'm kind of
Yep.
Yeah. So now I'm not really sure. Oh, gotcha. I thought it was Thaco or armor class that was the biggest change, but that on the automatically it just changed how you presented it, so how you labeled it. So
sorry,
but
it's not
specialization. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not on my end with the stream, everyone. I have no blips or whatever on my end. It is Twitch itself tonight. It's probably, as I stream, the longer I stream, it should clear up more and more and more as I get dedicated bandwidth, which I should have right off the bat. So as a partner, but weapon specialization is the grand first ability / skill. I don't know which one we're going to call it. I guess it's skill, where it changes a milk toast fighter into basically a hacking machine. A two-fisted makes it even worse, right? A two-weapon fighting, but +1 hit, +2 damage, doubles, +3/+3. 7th level, you're getting 2 attacks per round, your primary hand. 13th level, it makes it crazy. Yeah, please, thank you. And also it gives you some missile weapon specialization. Please note, I have not incorporated everything. Double damage dice here. I like the pluses only because we have the archer. Lenlikofka archer is better, should be better, but there's a lot of cool stuff in here.
Yeah, I think they lagged even with weapon spec, and it brings the fighter up a notch where everybody else is getting cool stuff, and the fighter's like, "That's all you got going on." I still think that they, even all the way up to 5th, really haven't done what they need to, which is like when you get into 3rd, it's all feats. It's all something you got to spend on. It's not something that it's coming pre-packaged.
Right.
You start to get some things, like they give like this thing called Second Wind, which allows you to get some hit points back, or you can do I forget what the other one, where it allows you to get an extra attack, an extra turn in sort of thing. But they have this thing that's in the archetypes, it's called a Battle Master. And that's what they need to
Oh.
have for regular fighters as a whole. Because what the Battle Master, they can do all these different maneuvers, and they have these, they're called superiority dice. You have so many dice, you can spend the dice on the special abilities. But it's things like it allows you to push, it allows you to disarm, it allows you to do all these different things that are just traditional fighter feats
Action
or
surge
fighter
uses.
actions, and actions, that's it, and fighter abilities. But still, it's limited to this one particular arc. They should have been incorporating this stuff with fighters a long time ago. Fight, and if they would have done, this is the realm of anybody who's just a straight up fighter. Your archetypes for later on, or your what did they call it in third edition, Anna?
Well, the prestige class
Prestige
yeah,
classes
yeah,
or something. Have that be something else. But the
yeah,
fight more zip to it, because
yeah.
it's still, even with weapon specialization, that helped, but they were still lagging. I
But they
mean,
got more feats in third edition and Pathfinder 1.
they
They got a
did.
feat, and you had so many feats, and that was both the cool thing with it, meaning you could specialize a heck of a bow, or someone who can use a great sword in certain situation and kill someone who was like a vampire and do 300 points of damage against that monster using that
Right.
weapon when it was dark, or the moon was a certain phase or whatever. Meaning you got so neat, gritty, and detailed, and small-minded in feats. It was kind of awesome. The problem with that part was that first you got the golf bag phenomena, meaning
Yes.
fighters and stuff had to have like different weapons and
Oh,
stuff for
that's a
different
silver. Hold
situation.
on.
Yeah, yeah, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
was one. And the other thing was also that then meaning when you have gritty, crunchy rules, that
Yeah.
makes for min-maxing, meaning people who are, and it's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it's one way of playing. If you like it, wonderful, good for you. And if everybody around the table love it, then that's the way to do it, so to speak.
And a lot of that had to happen in the Living Greyhawk era.
Exactly, and that kind of adds to it when you have to have a standardized set way of playing, and you can't house rule away things you don't like.
Yeah.
You just have to live with it, because that's the way it works. It's a game for everybody, not for somebody or just for us. But a rule system like third edition Pathfinder 1, a lot of crunchiness that and it reinforces it, because that becomes a big part of the rule system. And I love it one, so I was guilty of it as much as everybody. Now, not so much ruling it. I want to get rid of a lot of crunch. I want fewer, more general, thinking more in the lines of adding, saying that you can have like combat specialization, that you simply add your proficiency bonus as a damage to your rolls. It's a big hefty plus, but L casting or something. It will be costly if you want to take it, and I want to give it piecemeal, so you can get like a +1, and then you can invest even more if you if you want to invest. Any character can do it. You just have to spend in my system. You have to make the emphasis, say, okay, I'm going to learn that instead of learning something else. Much budget, so only so many things you can learn, so you have to pick and choose. and that way it becomes, you get fewer, more bigger, more encompassing, meaning you just get a plus on damage, so to speak. I think that's the way I want to go, because I want someone say, okay, I want my character to punch hard, so to speak, in combat and hit hard, and I want to spend the budget, and then I don't care what kind of weapon I'm having. If I hold something in my hand, I'm skilled punch hard, so to speak, or use it. So I'm just general combat expertise, meaning you can hold your cool, and you know how to swing things and stab with things, or whatever. So it's just a combat prowess, so to speak, general combat prowess. That's kind of the end. It goes against all the min-maxing stuff, but on the other hand, it makes it easy to be good at combat. Then you invest in that, and then sacrifice something else.
Yeah, I think third edition is, and Pathfinder first edition are great until 10th level, and then after 10th it really falls apart.
Oh yeah, then it becomes crazy advanced.
And I think basically what the problem with games is that they're trying to show advancement, and by showing advancement, they're doing it in tangible ways that you can see up in your face, like oh, here's I have more hit points now, and then and then you get hit point bloat and all this other stuff, and it's I like meta currencies. That's my favorite to games, and basically having the ability to spend your meta currencies on different things. And
that's why we use XP in my house rules. That's the meta currency, because it's a meta currency already built in the game. So you have XP, you have to spend your XP you earn on learning things. But you can use milestones instead, so it's not necessary. But I think, and one of the other thing that we can see when we compare old school, like first edition AD&D stuff, to later to third edition Pathfinder, fifth edition stuff, is that there's an inflation in numbers, meaning you have to change the game in any, meaning if you use 100 instead of 10, and you do 1 point of damage on your attacks, and the monster has 10 hit points, or you do 10 hit points in the attack and the monster has 100 hit points.
Right.
So that mathematically it will be the same, but it kind of feels cooler when you have bigger numbers. And
that is the fact that we're dealing with a D20 game.
Yes,
and everybody loves the D20. There is nothing that there's nothing else in role playing quite like rolling in that role play.
Yeah.
Now, rolling a double out on 100 is still pretty cool, but it's so much. But but that's like D100 systems are way easy to make rules for and to design, but it just doesn't have that same appeal.
And D20, because it's like that's Traveler used. If anyone who played Traveler, you use the multitude of D6s, which means that you get the bell curve. As soon as you introduce more than one die, you get the bell curve.
Outside of the D20 glut, and basically anytime. Same thing with 5th edition now. You got 5th edition clones. Everybody's doing that. That's just because you're talking about the general masses and what they know. It's not talking about the designers as a whole. Because as soon as you go into the other markets and the other systems, isn't the dominant factor. It's other systems that take these types of mathematics into consideration.
But I kind of like the D20 swinginess, and then you have systems that take further, like Savage Time and stuff, Savage Worlds, where you explode the dice. Meaning
I love doing that.
Yeah,
I love
emphasize the extremes, so to speak. So you don't want the mundane. You want results that are either you screw up enormously or you kill that bastard first.
Exactly.
Try,
and that's where I bake in meta currencies to it. That then that allows you to
and another effect that I think it's often overlooked is that how big of a chance of damage. And old school, it was really, really hard. The armor class was really, really high, just waving in thin air. And to me, I've realized now over time that time is precious. So I would like things to hit much more often. You should have meaning the probability of hitting is very low in a lot of D&D edition. Should be way higher, so to speak. I think it should be hits.
I don't know about 4th, but I know in 5th what they did is they brought down the average AC to 12 or 13. But then they went and they ruined it. That was good, bringing down the average, keeping the bosses with a higher AC and having the rabble a little bit lower. But then they gave just bags of hit points to everything. It's like, well, what are you going to do then?
To some degree,
leave them with less hit points and make them hard to hit. Don't make them easy to hit, and then
because we want to invest less time. So I think that's an underused aspect of the game is efficiency, meaning how long should a fight take, so to speak, and especially when you have high level characters and you roll a lot of, you have 3, make sure that things should hit way more often, so to speak. That because the effect with it that happens with it is that everything tend to avoid combat, so to speak, much more. You should think carefully before you get in there, because it might get deadly real quick, so to speak. I want more grittiness that way, and I want things to be. It should work both ways. So it should be deadlier both or quicker, both for you should mow down the enemy, but you can also be cut down quicker as a character. So I kind of like that combat should a little bit more more quickly lethal. And the other part of that is built into D&D with the hit point system is that things are only dangerous at the end, so to speak. Meaning you can take all the punishment in the world up until your hit points run out, and then all the
Right.
trouble happens. A lot of other systems happens, then there is a chance of something getting screwed up early, and that was. Meaning, Jay, your rules is a perfect example of it. You have the crit tables that introduce a lot of bad things can happen even long before you run out of hit points, and that's a way to circumvent it. But classic D&D up until 5th edition, no problem. As long as you have hit points, you don't need to have a worry in the world.
Right.
Yeah, and that's something I would often like to have. Things shouldn't be more deadly, but they should be deadly from the moment you start combat until the end, so to speak.
Yeah.
But so I'm not sure, because sometimes I would like something to be deadly. Every round should have a clear risk. So even if you have 200 hit points, you should be wary that if you have an enemy against you.
I love crits.
Yeah,
and fumbles.
that's something you need to start thinking. Should you run with that in the house rules or not, so to speak?
Make all your damage dice exploding.
Well,
yeah, that's a
That'll do it.
nasty bit. Yeah, if you roll the D12, just keep
roll
rolling.
another one.
Yeah.
so
But that is, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, let's theoretically.
Yep.
Why does a 5th level fighter who say has 50 hit points, and a normal human being has 6? There.
The difference is, as far as I can tell, and from my experience, is that it's supposed to simulate the fact that he knows how to dodge, toughen,
avoiding damage,
avoiding,
not
and be able
taking
to
it,
take.
avoiding
Yeah,
it.
but
Yep.
and also take the pain, so to speak, and be bruised and whatever. He
Right.
he
It's the
knows how to.
ability-
He can
hit
deal
points
with it.
are
Yeah.
the ability to avoid damage.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
high hit points have never been an issue in my game, and I guess because of the evolution of all these years, I have always strived for at least some balance where or you're playing a paladin or you're playing a mage. When you get to higher levels, I mean, there may be some differences at lower levels, but everyone should be pretty nasty when they get to higher levels, right? I
Yeah.
think that has been the key to a good game, where a 12th level fighter is fighting a 12th level anti-paladin, or it's fighting a 12th level necromancer, and there may be some slight differences, but that's been my goal, is to make it so that, oh my god, why did I do all the way from
Everybody
Sweden?
should have their ability, their little niche.
Yeah.
I agree.
Especially with classes.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole reason
Yes.
you have a class. Give somebody a structured niche in which that they fit within the story.
Yeah.
That's the way that's the whole reason. That's
one thing, going back to one the thing of hitting. And in 3rd edition, I loved 3rd edition when it came out. I realized there's one problem with the inflation in armor class and basic attack BAB, the basic attack bonus, that 3rd edition and its derivative like Pathfinder 1 and stuff. What happened, the armor class started to reach 60 and the to hit reached 45, 50 or something like that high, was that a 1st level character or monster or low level monster or 1st level character couldn't even had a remote chance of damaging or even hitting anything high level. And so that is something that was better in old school games.
Robert
and they also
Harley!
brought it in
Hi, Robert.
Yeah, they also brought that back reined that in again in 5th edition, and so that was, and they also had the effect in
Love
3rd
you
edition.
guys.
One weapon that was ridiculous at 10th level. I mean, you could just throw it away. It didn't make any sense. It wasn't even worth anything.
You throw it in the away at the
I mean,
at the thrift store later on.
Exactly. It was like that. You could that was useless completely. It made
Robert.
all the other numbers become useless after a while, and
that's
that
why
is
a lot of
yeah.
the OSR stuff that you see
drawing.
that's out there goes back. And if you go back to the original OD&D, I think OD&D stopped at 14, or maybe it was 10 in the box.
Well, yeah,
and
you
then
had
Greyhawk took it up to 14.
Yeah, and you had lower ability bonuses were lower, meaning +3,
Oh,
+3
yeah.
was basically the
17
highest you
gave
could
you
get.
what, a +1 to hit?
Yeah, or something. And third
Yeah.
edition, meaning you had +5 on ability bonus. You had basic attack bonus went up to +20, and you had magic weapons +10, and then or +6 or something like that, +5,
Yeah.
and some. And then you can have +100 on a die roll theoretically if you had all the things maxed out that the rules allowed, so to speak, from situation to whatever. 100, so you can roll 120, and that might be needed on a divine AC of 67 or 72 or something. So
that's insane. That's
outrageous.
outrageous.
And that is not, the math was ridiculous, and I realized that when I started playing Pathfinder 1 and they hadn't fixed it, and that to me was a big no.
Yeah.
That's
All right, so back to first edition. The fighter's just a fighter. Fighter gets weapon specialization. It's not enough. Will just said that. It's not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough.
We need more. We demand more.
We got more from me, right? I'm going to toot my own horn here. We got more. So around 28, we're thinking ourselves, we're losing our fighters. Our fighters are disappearing. We have multi-class fighters. We have...
They were no fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to make kits. The last thing I want to do is make up second edition kits, which are cool. I don't want to have 20 different kits for fighters. How am I going to do this? So this is what we came up with. This is a fighter class update. All right.
Now is this?
This is already in. Well, don't we wish?
Well,
a lot of this stuff is in here. And my Horror in the Holes with Carlos Lysing's publication that Carlos and I jointly wrote, my published event. So please note that. We gave him a couple abilities. I like it when classes have something that no one else gets. I don't mind stealing stuff from good ideas. Hence, World of Warcraft, the battle. And a lot of people are going, what's that? Fighter goes in, shouts. Does a battle shout. Everyone within 10 foot in the melee combat get +1 to hit. It stacks with bless. It stacks with other things. And the demoralizing shouts is -1 to hit, and it's a +2 or -2 at 8th level. Ability only a straight. We added something. Also, when we go over to my proficiencies, and let's talk about this. I wanted variety is great, right? We got it. We got cheating. I wanted Greyhawk flavor too. So we decided, I love 3rd edition feats, but I don't like all of them. There's too many. So we toned it down to, now we got 38 different feats you can take. We will add them based on a recommendation from a player or someone. I want to do this. Wash all, Curtis. It's not a feat. It's a spell. It's a spell from the priests of Washri King, but it's all cool. Here's the big one. The taunt ability, and then you can mass taunt for 3, and add that to your fighter, so that they get them faster. Now, every class gets so they have to take a weapon. You got to take long, or I know it's martial, whatever it is, martial weapon, or you got to take bow, whatever you're taking. You still have to take them. You still have to take specializations, but now you can take these feats, which are, I could just call them proficiencies, non-weapon proficiencies. Surely, right? We're getting into these books maybe a little bit. They come from a lot of stuff in here. So I think Dale, if I didn't have 43 years invested in it, I may go to a new system, right? Yeah.
He's got a system. He's got the J system.
And yes,
that's all that matters.
Of course they get them. Of course they do.
And Jay, I'm kind of jealous of you a little bit. You did what I do now. You did that 35 years ago or 30 years ago or something. So I took me way too long, so to speak, and that's why I'm now one house rules, my own catered, tweaked version of D&D that for myself,
absolutely,
so to speak. Yeah.
And thank you, Anna.
I gotta break people in group because every system that I go to or read and go. Always then after I digest that, I go and I write up house rules. on it.
Yeah.
And I'll write like 20, 30
Yep.
pages worth of house rules.
Yeah.
Off
That-
of this.
that-
I might not even have played it yet.
Yeah,
I just went through right.
I started reading Level Up and Pathfinder 2 and Level Up. I was like, how do I want? And now I'm going to base it on EN World Level Up. That's my base version flavor of 5e.
The
And I
hard
will
thing is
look-
getting the
yeah.
players to read it. Because like I said, here, we're gonna play 5th, but with all these
Also,
changes.
Yeah, but that's why I want to base it on 5th. So someone who played 5th, I want the D&D feel, and I want the 5e. I can kind of explain the differences a little bit, and not that much of a So it should the base. I don't, and especially I want to take it in steps. So math, because I want the basic math to stay the same, because that way I don't have to worry about power. So the basic math should be roughly the same, meaning characters should have the same punch and stuff like that, and monsters should have. Then once
there's
I have
easy
that,
ways to take care of all of that stuff,
and then once the first thing is to get rid of the. So they will be how characters acquire their stuff. That's the big change I do first.
Well, and we can definitely just talk about the difference.
Oh, please,
between these two
please go on.
I love this discussion. Here is my 1 point, Jay, and how I do it. The proficiencies may be slightly tweaked based on the class. This is what you start with. All you old schoolers, oh my God, everyone has a footman's mace and a freaking longsword and a longbow and then probably a dagger. And you don't need all those weapons. So you're taking your couple weapons you main with, and then proficiencies, feats are merged into the proficiency system. You get them much faster. A fighter now gets a 5th one at 3rd, a 6th one at 5th, up. Take that in lieu of. So longsword, specialization, that's 2. Right? Double specialization, that's 3. Right? You can't double it at first level. Fighting, if you want to fight longsword dagger, you got to take that skill. Right? And understand now, it's merged in. Taking the proficiency slot, the feat itself is now a proficiency slot. Simple. That's how I do it. And it works really well. So fighter, a first level fighter, may take longsword, specialization, longbow, that's 3. They got 1 left. Hit point per level. Maybe they want to take defensive training and get 1 lower on their armor class, innate. Maybe they want to take this ancestral character generator, calls upon spirits of ancestors for assistance during times of hardship. Maybe they put that in their back on some noble lands, or they're from lands of the Flan and to their Flan ancestors. All that is character development, right? That's what you can do with this stuff. You can develop your character off of it instead of just saying, I'm a great fighter with a sword. Maybe I'm talking about my ass.
No,
but it works.
Basically, that's the same thing that they've been doing in Star Editions.
Right, exactly.
They're giving you different ways to customize any part of your class.
Yes,
and Jay, you tweak the system to suit your group and your play style, and
exactly.
That's the way you should do it, and that means that you end up with some quirky things that works really well for you and don't work for any. That's why I call my rule tweaks house rule. I'm not trying to make a D&D version or a fantasy role play for a mass market or for others. I'm trying to make something that I can and hopefully my players can enjoy it.
And BB, that's great. And I want to show you a tweak that we did, and this tweak came up between. I'm sorry if I don't. Between weeks ago, I think it was more like 10. The specific. Here's your problem. No one was using two-handed weapons anymore. No one was using halberd or two-fisted two-weapon fighting. It was getting annoying. We wanted those big hackers coming in with a two-handed sword. What do? I probably did this in 3rd edition. For when you're fighting with a two-handed weapon that is an official two-handed weapon, 1.5 times. So if you have 18/01 strength, you're +1. Now you have +1 hit +5 damage with a bastard sword two-handed or a halberd. Building a secondary hand weapon, the secondary hand only is half your strength bonus rounded down. 18/01 strength, +1 hit +3 damage. Your secondary hand's +1/+1. Your dagger is only +1. There you go. And that damage. And that solved the problem. Another tweak we did. Just note. And I think these are in hard and holes. All right? So I've shared this with the community. Gygax said to do in Master's Game. Exactly. And that's just opportunity for Greyhawk flavor. That's what that's the whole, I'm trying to make this grand connection. Yep.
Yeah, and Jay, you have an interesting way of playtesting. It's a bit like capitalism. You see what's an option, you realize it might be underpowered. We need to power it up. If
Right,
everybody wants
right.
it, then it's overpowered. So then you power it down a bit. So that's an interesting way of playtest. And if you have time and you don't need to print it in a book and then sell it, that's the way I think you should playtest. You should
Right.
do what you do. You should introduce it in play, start using it, and if everybody takes it and you realize that, then we need to tweak it. But then you need to tell the players that things might change, so to speak. The rules, we might switch things around a bit, and they're not set in
Yeah.
stone forever. So
There
some
are
players
no
have to-
rules. The
Yeah.
number one rule that I'm about to change goes back
Ooh.
to first edition bards, and I want to show.
Okay.
All right. So it's going to happen because I love first edition bards. I know a lot of people. It sounds like you were like, what? No, I wouldn't like playing 3.5. I don't like prestige classes. I convert everything. So I convert everything back to 1E, 2E rules. For example, the Knight of the Holy Shielding class Hawk is all prestige. We just made the night class on it. So I wasn't prepared for the player's handbook. Let me get out the player's handbook here. What am I doing? Oh my god, my brain shut off.
One of the things.
Oh,
that
the bard. Jeez.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to
The
show
original prestige class.
the
so
original
to speak.
prestige class.
Yeah.
Is a question of how much customization you think the player's going to be. Sam, you're dead on. You are dead on right. You need, and this is where, if you notice two things, in my game with special guests, I'm kind of leading them by their noses too because they're not used to the system. But in the game with my players, there has to be trust to DMs crushing fist them, right? So you have to have trust. I want to show you a little quirk of the system here for bards that ran into a problem with. So bards, triple class, fighter, they go up to 7th level. That's 7 hit die. Thief, you're dual classing, so you don't get hit die until you get that 1 hit die and then you stop. So you have 7 hit dice of fighters, 1 hit die of thief. Bards, where's the table? It's back this way, unless it's erased right there. Oh, it looks like I got a glitch wherever the bard table should be. It's not there. Bards get a hit die. First level, they don't get one, but when second, third, and I'm like, that is just too much. I have bards running of 145 hit points. And like a 12 level fighter who's got 110, 120. It's just ridiculous. Or ridiculous numbers. I'm going to make the bard surpass the thief table before they make sense.
Yeah.
His issue, yeah. So that's something can make their characters an system. Eat the surf. That would be a cool idea. So
Do you ever think about making bards? It's straight up its own class.
No,
like in second edition.
Because second edition bards suck.
We don't have to import it the exact same way, but
true. But I don't want to make up an entire. Wow, it took you forever to get to this lore teller.
I tell you what,
yeah.
Achievement.
Absolutely.
I will agree
like
with that. I will agree with
but
that.
But if I give a bard toughness feat, and they get all the fighter ones and all afterwards, you understand where you're coming across. That's a tweak that after all these years, I'm going to make. So, yeah. Wait, first edition bards do not get another dice of roll. They have a hit die, but they don't. It looks right on. If you look right on the table, it says no hit die. There's a 0 next to it. But then second on, they get die 6, die 6, die 6, die 6, die 6 up.
Yeah, Greyhawk is
first edition.
This is first edition bard here at Lady Hawk. So they've already got levels and hit points under their belt.
Yeah, they got 7. Yeah.
Well, you have fighter and you have to be a fighter, thief, and then start druid studies, and then you become a bard. So you have fighter levels and thief levels. So you are a badass even before you start. So yeah.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah. Well,
I never even attempted it back in the day.
Yeah, I don't think we didn't have anyone who made it bard or ruthlessly. You had to stickler to the rules back then. So yeah.
They already have 85 hit points going into that bard.
And that's the same thing as having 3 5e standards.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. They already have 8 hit dice. They have 7 die 10 and 1 die 6. all the way up, and then bards, when they change over to first level bard, now by the old dual classing rules, you don't get hit points on the new levels until you surpass your old level. But bard you did, and it's a quirk of the game that I, because I want those characters to be more playable. When DMs do house rules customization, they don't inherently understand that if they succeed everything they want to, the game will be exactly true too. Fun. It's all about playing with your friends, and that's where. Well, Mokler, send me a link. Send me a link in Discord if you don't mind to it, if you can, or something. I'll take a look. I was hoping. I thought there was an off chance that. Well, what time is it? It's only the first hour. Something happened with Tim. Will, thanks for hopping on this discussion.
Sure.
You really,
Sure.
great. So,
the only thing I'm not doing right now is drawing. So this is that I've got is all I'm doing is drawing.
All right, that's cool. Very cool. So. You do miss a level worth of hit. Be getting them anyway. They shouldn't. For 8 levels, they shouldn't be getting them by dual classing rule. If you dual class, you're not supposed to get hit points. And I'm 160 hit, even 170 hit points, where all the high level fighters are at 1, plus all the spell ability, plus all the other ability. It's crazy. So, yep, no problem. Many 5e won't, but take this into your 5e. Will, give me of one of your rangers, one of your sub that you made an ability or feat or skill change.
Oh, you're talking about them.
This is 5e.
Okay. Well, let's see. Put me on the spot.
Of course I am.
Of course. Okay. So the first thing that I went through and I did I'll talk about Cleric of Procan, which just went up today.
Yes, it did.
Okay. Cleric of Procan. Essentially, one of the first things I did is I went through and at first level, I gave them resistances to lightning and thunder, which are 2 different types of stations within the 5th edition.
Yeah, it's like Sonic and electricity.
Correct.
From the 5th edition.
It's awesome.
From 3rd edition.
Yeah. And that's you take it and you mold it to the specific type of deity, and that's the thing. Started with all this, and then like I went through and I took the channel ability of the cleric, and instead of them turning undead, essentially they're allowed to make themselves the eye of a miniature storm that focuses around them, which makes it difficult for everybody else attacking within a 15-foot radius of that particular
I love what you've done with that's awesome. And start using that.
Each are specific. You change them up to. That's what the whole thing that got me started into it. I was thinking about it earlier when when I played 1st edition. I played fighters, I played rogues, thieves, barbarians after Unearth. Okay, those are the 3 things. I didn't start playing clerics until 2nd edition, because 2nd edition is when it really started with customization of the cleric to the deity in which they served, which I always thought was it should be that way.
I love how much I love it.
That, like, even when I was playing 1st edition before or whatnot, I would allow tweaking of different things, to make it more specific. Like one of the first things that went out the window, the clerics being able to fight with swords and stuff like that. I never. So, but and that's basically the beauty of the archetype with 5th edition, is that they specialize the generic class a little more. You've got feats that do it, but then there's not enough archetypes. So, and that's when I went through, and the easiest ones to do is like I did the warlocks, I did the paladins, and now I'm finishing out clerics. And there's 25 of each of those. So you got one, and there you go. The man, I'd have to go back and reread all the things I did on the Rangers, because I don't know it in there. I know I made them specific for the environment in which they work.
Well, and you also theme them like
exactly.
That.
And basically what I tried to do there is, because I'm connecting all that to Greyhawk, is basically what I was looking at is I basically drew Rangers are connected to the land in some sort of way. So I looked for specific types of lands And then I looked for areas within those specific types of lands, like colder regions. Okay, I went up north, look around and up there, and that's where I got the Mist Rangers that are in the Burnial Forest, and they work with the Mist Wolves.
I
And
love it.
so that was some for the world, and it isn't connected. We'll do this, and it's like, well, that's kind of generic. If you think about it, it's like, I don't want to have all the Rangers being the same. They got to be a little bit different than give them like this other little special ability.
Yeah.
So the ability needs to be tied to the land in some sort of way.
It's regional feats that if you came from that region, you can learn to.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can to the mechanically into saying you're from that area,
Right.
meaning you're a specialist in horses or forest related stuff or cold stuff
Well,
or
and
whatever
that's
it is.
because
Yeah.
all the archetypes in the fifth edition, what an archetype in fifth edition is nothing.
Yeah.
Really, that's all it is.
Oh yeah.
And it gives you the other thing that I do with a lot of these different ones is, especially with all the spellcasters, the beauty of that is being able to dip into all the spellcasting schools. Because like I always thought it was stupid. Like, okay, you're a cleric of a nature god, and you're casting all of these cleric spells.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you cast off the druid spell. That's where you can basically, I would do something along those lines to mix it up and give it to make it more sense of it.
It's really it's really cool though that you got this here, and like flavor here for Greyhawk. If you're looking for 5e flavor, here's where you want to go. So
a lot of cool mechanics. But now I was going to ask both of you. Well, you mentioned spellcast. Have you all stayed true to Vancian magic, or have you played around with spell points or other alternate versions of spellcasting, so to speak?
I have, and this is the thing. Well, first, let me say one thing. It is a Patreon. The bulk of the Patreon is free. A lot of people don't understand that, especially all the older material. There's some stuff that I will always stay behind paywalls. That's basically the adventures, and everybody gets early access to the archetypes and stuff like that. But, because I had a couple of people that were complaining about that, especially when I changed it over from having a regular website. And I was like, no, I'm not going to rake you over the coals. So, but I tried around with spell points. I think are okay. If you want to go spell points, that's fine. This is the problem I have and why I keep going back to Vancian magic. Freeform magic, and there's some really good freeform magic systems that are out there. The problem with freeform magic is it puts too much onto the player. Most players don't want to work that hard. Have something like a Vancian system, it's super simple. These are the spells I can cast. This is the power in which I can cast them at. Boom, done. And I find that that's just the easiest for it. I've monkeyed around and looked at doing freeform systems for some of the stuff that I design. And after doing it for, I don't know, the past 5 years and coming up with a little bit of things here in system that I had up on the old website, I'm not going to do a freeform. I might have a way for you to do like they sort of do in 5th edition, where they allow you to upcast the spells, which I think is,
you can downcast is the new thing too, which is really cool. You can
I like.
And especially some first level under spells, you can power them down and cast them as cantrips. I really like that idea.
I like that too. And that's basically the new version that I intend on doing is basically cast up, cast down system with your essentially PowerPoint / spell slots, however you want to do it. And then basically that's it. I'll always let people tinker with stuff if they want, but for the most part, I've never found any takers to a freeform magic system.
Do you use you use sorcerers like the
here's the thing.
and stuff.
This is one of the biggest things that I hear a lot of people talk about. Okay, they talk about wizards and they talk about how overpowerful that wizards get and all this different stuff. The answer to your problem is already existing in the rules. Nobody uses it is the problem. If you want to enforce the material component,
Exactly. That
Enforce
I
it. That right
that's what I
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I do. That's a limitation that they don't realize, that is so
Mhm.
powerful. And I'm trying to tweak the material component to be more interesting from a thematic perspective, so to speak. And some of it should be downright hard to find. If you're up in the cold, you don't find a tropical spider in the middle of the snow somewhere or whatever, or
Yeah.
something. So these things then, but there should be works around, like you can have a magical pouch that can produce that thing, or something. So
Mhm.
you can,
Mhm.
there are works around, but that's an underused tool, so to speak. I'm also toying because I want to stay Vancy and Magic to keep the D&D feel, but I'm also thinking of you can regain I'm
Mhm.
especially thinking for evil ones. Let's see a cleric of Nerul, when he or someone evil, when they murder a good one or kill someone, they get a spell back, so to speak. Cool thing like that, so to speak. If they can use harm spells to harm good, then the deity is so pleased that he's just going to give you more of it, so to speak, because you're using his power the way he intended.
So I've got a 5th edition house rule that basically
Yeah.
goes like this. So for spells, if you want to cast more, you can cost you hit points.
That's
Now,
exactly. I played with
cost you
that
hit
too, and
points, you can
yes.
do that.
Mhm. Yep.
And essentially, if you're evil, you can
Mhm.
steal them hit points from somebody else if you
Yep.
need
Yep.
to power your magic, sort of thing.
Yeah. I want to, and that's because that's we have DCC. It's
Mhm.
Dungeon Core Classics. Have fun. Then you can keep casting spells, but you will lose your vision and lose a body part, and
Right.
wizards get crippled and die from all
I
sorts of
like
things.
getting things happen to you, but
Yeah.
not that drastic.
That
You
is
got it. They
kind
got
of
to
a little
keep
bit
being able
over
to
the top. Yeah.
adventure.
In long-term campaigns, it gets difficult because the wizard always loses body parts and non-functional halfway through the adventure.
Yes.
The idea that you can use hit points in order to cast more spells. You simply exhaust yourself, and
Yeah.
then you can take more. You can damage yourself and kill yourself by casting more magic. I like
Interesting.
that thematically, that you can do that.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's awesome because like
Mhm.
it gives you
Yep.
some real dramatic things that you can role play. Like,
Yeah,
wow, the
exactly.
wizard sacrificed
Mhm.
himself
Yeah, and you
to
can
save us.
you can level up. You can cast the spell at a higher level by burning it. You can get really like, damn. The same thing that there's some game, I think, in the new edition of D&D, where you can a crit and then
Mhm.
destroy your weapon, so to speak. You can hit
Yeah.
so hard that you crit, so to speak. These are thematically kind of cool because they don't necessarily, so to speak, and it's also for the players primarily, but certain monsters should be able to as well, to
Oh,
really
for
punch
sure.
hard, so to speak. So yeah.
Mhm.
And generally 5e monsters are underpowered.
Yeah, that's why I
weird.
never
Yeah.
go by. I never go by stat.
No,
block.
I've upgunned my
Whatever.
monsters significantly.
That's-
Some of them, yeah.
That's a suggestion, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Mhm.
It's like I'll start there.
Yeah, and
then
also
we'll see where we go.
that's one of the tricks as a DM. You get the feel. You can dial them up and down as needed in combat,
Yes.
so to speak. I don't, meaning if it will be awesome fun for the monsters to be around one more round, let them be. Speak. It's like, yeah, it's a little bit so sometimes, and sometimes platfall right away, so to speak,
Mhm.
and stuff. So
Mhm.
so that should be part of, but don't tweak it too much, because it should be that natural variation and stuff could be in place.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is a fine
should be in
line. It
place.
is a
Yeah.
balancing act for
Mhm.
sure,
Yep.
because you make things too hard.
Yep.
So, but you get a general feel for that as you
Mhm.
play.
Yeah.
That you DM,
Mhm.
the easier it becomes.
Yeah, and also when you get to know a group, whatever they
Yes.
want to have more, then keep the combat going a little bit, and then
Yes.
or throw some other enemy in halfway into the combat that they can kill off really quickly or something, and make them feel good.
So
Yeah.
if you ever see in a game with my special players, for an example, even at Greenwood, they have their spell list spells because playing as a spellcaster is tough, right?
Yeah.
Not the clerics. The clerics have to have their spells and all. But I kind of may rein this in the future. But my players, you better memorize your spells, because knowledge of the way I DM is
Mhm.
much better on them. So just note, you gotta be flexible. So there's two different
Mhm.
sets of rules for people. Yep.
And I also sense a lot of DMs and rule system and stuff, they nerf them on a mechanical level. me. But I want to nerf it more like material components and stuff. So once you get the spell, you
Yes.
can really hammer home, so to speak. There should be some spells that are really do is that you can. It's like I'm not toying with really high level magic, higher than 9th level. So what I do is that you have really long casting times. So
Mhm.
things don't go boom immediately. You can tell that everything is dying around you, and now it's getting worse, and the weather is getting worse. Run, meaning run, and
Yeah.
stuff. So you have things like that. You can sense the bad stuff coming. If all the animals or whatever is fleeing in one direction, maybe you should too.
It's like a
Yeah.
natural disaster.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
they
stuff
know.
like that. Yeah. There
I
are
like
various you can play with things like this. Yeah.
Barbarians of Lemuria. It's a freeform system, and I
Uh-huh.
think it's probably. And I know I bashed freeform just a second ago. I play one. It's by far the best one that I've ever encountered.
Mhm.
But it's got 3 tiers of magic. That's it. You can cast things that can be performed or done the same. Your spell can be accomplish the same thing as with either using a tool
Mhm.
to accomplish it. And the example they use is using a rope to. Could somebody, okay, they can use a tool to do something like that. You can you can cast a spell, you can do something like that. And then it goes up to third tier. Third tier are the multi they're like monumental spells.
Mhm.
Spells that take months to cast.
Mhm. Yep.
That have multiple people that are involved in them.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
Ritual spells.
ritual spells, and I would love to see more of.
All right.
Yep.
You know,
So
Yep.
we can show you ritual spells. Give me 1 sec. You
Mhm.
want to see some ritual spells? We're going to bounce all over. Hey, we might not even get to the Dungeoneers and the Wilderness Guide, but let's here. Let's.
This is such this is one of my favorite
I take
black
full
holes to get
responsibility.
into. So yeah, so when you got Will and me going here, and we
That's
love this
okay.
topic. So yeah.
That's good. Ritual spells. By the way, this is Welcome Rituals 1.
Oh
The
yeah, I have
preface is by
that one
Gary
sitting here somewhere.
Gygax. There you go.
Mhm.
Gary
Yep.
Gygax did this. Was booked for the Scarred Lands. So let's
Mhm.
see where we can
A
find
third
it.
edition
This
D20.
third edition.
book. Yeah.
I love both
Mhm.
these. And I shot a mage class just out of these two, helping with these 2 books. That's 7. Ritual magic. And there's a lot of great spells in here.
And that is something that is been part both in Pathfinder 2 has it, and 5th edition have rituals that basically of combat using you don't need to use spell slots. So it's and that to me it's kind of cool that you can do things. Wizards and arcane and divine casters, there are certain things you can do outside of combat. You don't need to worry about it. Just spend 10 minutes or an hour or something, and you can do it.
I'm a big fan of trips. Like they took the old cantrips, because there used to be the list of them that came out of the.
Yeah.
I think at first it's out of a dragon, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then they kind of
horizon-
combine, like 5th edition. They have one that's called thaumaturgy,
Mhm.
and essentially it takes all of them up into one.
Mhm.
It's like if you
Yeah.
know thaumaturgy, you can make food taste bad. You
Yeah.
can do the very,
Yeah.
and they just have the one that does
Yeah.
all of those. I think,
But I like the rituals that you can cast a lot of normal spells outside of combat. You just in minutes
Yeah,
rather
these
than
are
rounds.
most of these are out of combat. So
Mhm.
combine ritual magic in time,
Mhm.
and then it goes into
Yeah.
researching.
But then you have real
yeah.
You have really powerful ones that are above the 9th level spells. So yeah.
Yeah.
Or
and
10. 'cause they
Which
have
one's
10.
that from again, Jake?
This is Welcome Rituals.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
this one.
Two. Yeah,
There
I'm
you
not. I think I have both, or maybe I only have
Relics
one.
and
Oh, I know
Rituals.
exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Relic and Rituals 2. And then note, I use the Relic and Rituals Excalibur book a lot. Fine.
Yeah, and there was another
Here's
Eldritch magic that was on the same theme.
Yeah.
Now we're talking the D20 Glut, the early 2000-ish,
Mhm.
about or something was like a 4 or 5 before 4th edition, when 3rd edition was king,
Right.
and early 2000s. That when there was so many D20 books that it was crazy, and this was that era. And some of them were good, and a lot of them are just bloated.
It's just like it is
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, mhm, very
It's the
much like
exact same
today.
thing.
Yep.
It's
mhm,
it's the more
Yep.
the go ahead.
But I'll get and there's some. I'll give you an example of something like for the rituals in a movie or you've seen somewhere, and it's in this book. Like for example, Druid True Rituals, Awaken Forest. Remember when the
It's beautiful. That's
Mhm.
awesome. I love
yeah.
that.
So there's
Yeah.
some great ideas in here that you could really pull into your Greyhawk. Imagine
Yeah.
doing that a 9th level ritual with druids and the Vest. I use army coming in, man.
Mhm.
You know, and
Well, you got to
Yeah.
think about if you're DM now. Keep this in mind. An instant adventure hook.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
like, okay, because it's like, oh wow, that's pretty big, and it's like, okay, well, what's everything that's going to be around that? And boom, well, we got to do this ritual, but we got to have this rare, blah 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 blah. You guys go
Mhm.
do that while we
Yeah.
get this ready, and
They even
Yeah.
have lynchdom in here, lycanthrope infestation, vampire. You know,
Mhm.
they got a lot of bad stuff.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I
So, you know.
was thinking, speaking of you like in Dungeon Core class DCC, when wizards they start getting losing body parts and stuff. I was thinking that necromancy spells and stuff. I'm going to introduce that, so you get bad effects, so to speak. So you
Yeah.
can cast a lot of, and you can cast more of them and a lot of them. So, but
Here's
since
something.
sorry, go on.
If you're casting necromancy spells, right? And I'm a big fan of roll to cast.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's not part of Vancing, but I put it into mine. You roll to cast it because I want you to be able to crit and fumble on your spells.
Mm-hmm.
But and if you fumble casting a necromancy spell, then you lose. If you
Mm-hmm.
lose enough of those point of constitutions, then you become an undead. I
Yeah.
think something like
Mhm.
that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm toying with it, and the basic what I would like to see is that spells that do hurt others should either come with a to hit roll, so to speak. You should have a spell to hit roll, or there should be a saving throw, one or the other, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Mhm.
And I might make an exemption for magic missile, just might be the exception. Otherwise, I think it should be area effect spells should have a saving throw, and individually should have a spell to hit, so to speak. And then
Yeah.
well, you mean you could fumble or you can crit them, so to speak. And
Yeah.
and also, you should be able to crit area effect spells too.
Mhm.
If you fumble or you basically roll it, because the saving throw it's the defense roll, so to speak.
Yeah.
That instead of a to hit roll, and in some way, because it's kind of easier than the caster cast 50, or if there's 10, if all the part, if an evil wizard or necromancer cast something on the whole party, instead of you as a DM to have to roll 10 attack rolls against all the different ones, it's easier for the players to roll their defense rolls, meaning saving throws.
Right.
That's why I
Yeah.
think area effect spells, it's easier to handle that way.
Mhm. Mhm.
And vice versa, so to speak, because simplify it and just make one or a few saves on the monster's end, so to speak.
Yeah, I've always done it as just a matter of when it's the exact same effect and damage and anything connected to damaging of there's going to be a saving throw that's connected to that. I
Yeah.
still always like having the casters roll.
Yeah,
And I just
way
connected to
more
the
spells
level.
should have I think should have an attack roll, spell attack and damage. That's
Yeah.
more fun, and they should come with fumble and crit bonuses, so to speak, or penalties.
Yeah, I haven't done it so much on making it so that if the spell had an attack roll, I left the attack roll.
Mhm.
If it
Yeah.
did not,
Yeah.
basically the roll would be it's defunct
though.
to whatever level the
Mhm.
spell is.
Yeah. Yeah, and
First
that's
level spell, you got to roll, you got to beat a
Yeah.
1.
yeah, and that's one of
Second,
the
so
cool
forth
things.
and so on.
Yeah, that Pathfinder 2 have taken that role is kind of cool. Almost everything has critical success, success failure, and critical fumble. It's built into the rule system, and everything is structured that way. Spells and skills and
That's
everything,
cool.
and it's really cool. I like that mechanic.
Not to go off on a super big tangent, but
Yeah.
in your
Oh,
game,
we've been
in your
tangent,
it's okay. Hey, I haven't talked about freaking big.
What was
B's
this
and no
show
yet.
about?
So, your group that plays in your game in the Shieldlands now,
Mhm.
it's Pathfinder 2.
No, it's a half
Oh, it's
homebrewed
heroic
5e.
5e. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's a
It's-
half-assed house ruled 5e system, or based on level up kind of. Yeah, so it's
Are
it's
there
a bit
classes?
influx. There's still some. They originally I hadn't implemented the class list, but it's slowly getting in there, so to speak. So it's a little bit. If the players want to keep using classes, they can in this campaign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it's in development, so to speak. So I
Okay.
haven't forced the players to abandon it. So I have someone, he plays a rogue and he can continue to play a rogue, and then I have a druid and a paladin-ish kind of, so that have more or less
Okay.
abandoned classes and can start picking what they want to learn. So yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that list from about what they can learn? That's my question.
That is, what I've done is that I've taken level AV. That is basically a
Is that
5e
EN
clone.
Worlds?
EN Worlds,
Mhm.
EN Publishing's.
Can someone link
5e
that,
clone.
please?
Yeah, it's and
Let me
hang
see
on a
if I can
second,
find
I
it.
can find it here. So
I'll
Just
find
so
it.
we know
You-
what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
yeah, so hang on a second. Campaign plan. So we have the rules. Hang on a second here. A5e tools. And that's the rules,
Thank
and
you.
you can buy them in books, or you can
You're way.
yeah,
Want to give
and,
all the 5e players options out there and just say it's not
Yeah.
just an old school discussion,
Mhm.
everyone.
and here is the if you want to see the
Very cool.
products and stuff, this is where it is. And it's basically so
They
to
just
speak.
got another option too, because Tales
Yeah.
of the Valiant. is-
Exactly, that's another 5e clone, and there's several others in the making too. So this level up was just the first one before it became 5.
the oh, when's Gen Con? When's the actual date?
August, what is it, like 10, 14 or something, or yeah,
So
August.
so
Yeah.
August is when Daggerheart's gonna.
Exactly, that's another
and
one.
That's
So,
Critical Roles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a D5e clone or not. I can't see them not doing a 5e.
No, they probably stay. It will be a
Yeah.
a D&D feel kind of thing, so to
Yeah,
speak. So
yeah,
and
'cause,
there's
it
several
can't be
Cubicle.
too far to the right.
Cubicle 7 has another one in development, and
They
now
actually, I think,
yeah.
dropped theirs.
Oh, they
I-
dropped theirs. Okay.
Cubicle 7, I think, dropped theirs, and I
Okay.
want to say there was somebody else dropped it. Ooh, I'll
Mhm.
make one.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Yeah,
they
it became
saw
a
that.
crowded market. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it instantly
Okay.
became that as things went
Yeah.
by, and people like, well, maybe we
Yeah.
won't do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the reason I house rules on were two, so to speak. One, it's much more open than 5e, meaning it's and even before the OGL that they used it, they basically the same as Pathfinder, so you can tweak it and use much more of these. Secondly, the rules are available both in print, PDF, and all the rules are available on the website, so you can basically
Yes.
copy them, I put them in Obsidian, so I can tweak and house rule them and legally do so.
That was my bad.
And I
everyone.
bought all I was on the Kickstarter. I got all the PDFs, and I can copy and paste from the PDFs into my own house rules and tweak things. So to legally do it, and with 5e I couldn't do it. There is no legal PDFs, and the rules are difficult. You can't find them in electronic form, so to speak, legally. I didn't want to go that way. I wanted to be just. So that's when so those are the main reasons that I chose level up. And there's some cool tweaks there as well.
Russ and the guys from Ian World are pretty top notch.
Exactly.
And to tell you the truth, if you want to talk about
the bestiary especially is better than standard 5e, way better.
Yeah.
The monsters are cooler, and there are some rules tweaks to it. You have a bloodied condition. You have what they call fighter maneuvers, combat maneuvers. I
like that.
Yeah, I like them, but I'm going to tweak them because in advanced 5e or level up, then there are things that you can learn, meaning fighters can learn X amount of maneuvers and rangers can learn Y amount of maneuvers. You spend exertion points in order to execute them.
Okay.
What I will do is that I will take some of these maneuvers are so esoteric and obscure that I will skip them, but I will take reasonable, I will keep them, and I will generalize them. I will simply say, if you have, for instance, there is one that you can attack spellcasters and screw up their spellcasting by using a bonus attack, and that is, you have sleight of hand is a thing that you have. So I simply say, if you are proficient with a weapon and that your proficiency bonus, you have sleight of hand, then and you have a spellcaster that is within reach, then you can use that dirty trick maneuver, so to speak. Fulfills the prerequisites, can do it, so to speak.
That's
so
the way it should be. That's the way it
so
should be.
fighters and classes will be more or less no problem because they will be proficient in the weapons. They will have various specializations and mastery in order to do it. But even a wizard and rogues can probably do a lot of it stuff, so to speak.
Okay.
And so it will come naturally if you pick up a lot of skills and proficiencies and stuff. Then that you can do them, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
One thing
that,
I would
yeah.
love to see. I know Bob Worldbuilder was actually working on this,
Yeah.
and I don't know if he stopped or if it's going to be coming out, which is a comprehensive list of special abilities per weapon. There's
Something that
reach, there's
yeah.
reach, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
you could have,
Mhm.
but it's like,
But that's
being
something with the
able to
new
not,
weapon mastery rules.
yeah,
Mhm.
they have that, but I think they're going about it the wrong way from what I've been reading and what I've heard. It's essentially the weapon the fighter. Now
Oh,
I
yeah,
understand.
they put it in a class specific for fighters
Yeah.
only. Yeah.
It should be available to the weapon,
Mhm.
and then anybody can do it. Just the
Yeah.
fighter should be able to do it better. And I
Yeah.
don't know
Mhm.
how mechanically you would justify it all,
Yeah.
but it's like certain types of weapons and nothing crazy. Like they have that one thing that I really liked in versatile weapons. Longsword does normal D8. You fight with two hands, D10. It bumps up the damage die one. But have more stuff like that. Being able to trick people.
And to have weapons effects is something that is really cool. Pathfinder has way more of these cool things that and so I think that there's a lot of potential for that. And the way I would like to do it is that this is just me toying with the ideas when I've seen Pathfinder 2. Now I've seen what wizards are doing with D&D, and I've seen what level up and stuff. I want to have like there are different proficiency levels. First, you can be non-proficient. You can still use the weapon, but you don't get any proficiency bonus. You just get your ability bonus, period. That means that when you are low level, it does bonking things with almost anything. It works. But as you level up and becomes more powerful, a fighter or someone who knows what they're doing will be way more better at the end of something.
That's a perfect way of doing it. That's a perfect way.
So that way anyone can mess around in the beginning and get the feel for what they like, and then you learn, so to speak. So the first thing is to get proficient. Then you can add your proficiency bonus to your attack roll. And then the next step is to specialize. And then what I think I want to do is that then you add your proficiency bonus to up to +6 to damage. That I think will be the next logical evolution, and be a weapon master, so to speak. And what you can do then you get a reach of 10 feet, or you might get to be able to do tripping with certain weapons. And that is something that you can do per weapon. So even if you're a wizard, you can say that, well, I want to learn just to fight with the sword, and I want to have my sword, or I want to be better at using a quarterstaff. So you invest your 100 XP or whatever it is to become proficient in or specialized in quarterstaff. And then instead of getting one little tweaky extra thing in wizardry, using my quarterstaff instead, meaning you are still 95% as good or 98% as good as you would be, but you get a little bit more punch or like
that's
power.
An excellent way of doing skills.
That's what I try to do it, so to speak. So you can do because and what I've done is that proficiency can be done in groups. You can either do it in one weapon and it doesn't cost much at all, or you can do it whole groups. And I try to group them logically. So you have like the short blades, long blades, bows, crossbows, and stuff like that, pole arms and things. And you can take whole groups. That's for fighters. It's a way of they have to spend some XP in order to learn all of it, instead of having a martial thing that costs enormous amounts. So you can be kind of fight. I don't want to understand them, so skip it. I just want to learn swords or spear or something. Or I just want to learn one. I'm a skulky one, but I want to have spear. I want to be damn good at spear fighting, and then even spellcasters can learn that.
That's a good idea for. I think that. Basically that same rule, and to just have that over skills as a whole.
Any skill.
But you could be like, okay, if I want to be a roguish type, I can go ahead and I can get these, because third edition had that where you would spend points and anybody could take X, Y, or Z. But the if you were a rogue, you got these at this price and everybody else. I like that. I think that's great. I think this way it allows you to let people specialize and
Mhm.
and build the characters that they want. And
Yeah, and the same thing goes. Want to spend more on combat prowess? First you have to learn armor proficiency, and I also have the fact that you can, once you're proficient, if you want to cast arcane magic in using in armor, so to speak. So as will sacrifice some of your other stuff, meaning there is only so much you can.
right,
Also, when it comes to combat prowess, that means that you get fighters. If you want to be the ultimate fighter, you learn all the weapon groups, everything. But you can't say, no, I just want my spear and maybe I want to be good at spear dagger. I don't care about the other weapons. Then it will
right.
cost you less, so to speak. But you can be equally good in fighting with spears and dagger, or just spear, or just quarterstaff.
Right.
And do want to have that flexibility, but that's a classless system. So
Yeah.
so you get some
So
of
you just
the.
got to making maps so everybody be
Yeah,
happy.
exactly. So I'm tweaking it. That's why I'm bringing with my laptop. So I basically, what I did was that I listed all the four basic and the rogue and the cleric and the fighter. So those were the four basic, and I listed from first level, fifth level, and 10th level, and then I simply started XP costs. And so, okay, if I want to build a first level fighter and I start pricing things according to this wizard, and I saw
That's
that I
smart.
can
That's
actually,
yeah.
yeah, so I can, because I wanted people to be able to build 2,500 XP for first level. And if they spend that, they should be able to build a standard first level fighter or first level whatever, so to speak. But there's a couple of issues. Is that D&D is front loaded, meaning you learn a ton of stuff at first level. So that's why I realized that first level. That's why I basically tweak it. So in my system, third level is more like first level, because what I want to do is proficiency bonus is a little bit weird in 5th edition because it starts at +2, not +1.
Right.
It starts at +2 and goes to
Should start at
+6.
0.
Exactly. That's what I do.
At.
Yeah. So I start at 0 and then you move up. So you get +0 for a couple of levels, and then you get +1 for a couple of levels. So I have 3 levels per step, so to speak. So you have +6 at the from 17 to 20, and you have 0 for the first 3. And then you have +1 for the next 3. So that way, when you're a 5th level, identical equivalent, when you can, if you have if you've taken all the XP and spent it on trying to build a standard fighter, wizard, or rogue, or cleric, you can do that somewhere in between, whatever, so to speak. The other weird special classes, I skip them because then I have reasonable balance, so to speak, and math. But I also, the other benefit I got from doing it is that I front load hit dice. So in the first levels, you are basically crappy at doing things, but you can take damage. You still gain a hit dice. So first, what I introduced was base hit points based on your size. So a medium creature get I think it was a D6 or D8. So you get like a gargantuan one, like dragons, whatever. They get 100 hit points. 4. They get 4 hit points, 6 hit points, 8, 10, 20, and 100, so to speak, based on size. So I think or medium. So small gets 6, a tiny get 4, and a medium get 8. So you have, everyone has 8 hit points to start with, and then you simply purchase. You get a hit dice, and then you simply purchase, say you get a D6 hit dice. So every time you level up, you get a D6 standard. But if you want to spend XP, you can
experience on a higher die.
Then you can say, I want beefier, so I'm going to upgrade to a D8 hit dice, or all the way up to D12. So, but that will cost, so to speak. So you can have fighting people that say, I don't want to, or you can have wizard to say, oh, I want my hit points, so I can upgrade, so to speak. So in order to take more punch. So all of that will be. And the other thing you have to do when you do a class list is that you have to make sure you strip everything up into piecemeal. Like, you can't just say that you get that and then you level up automatically. So you simply say, backstab, you purchase 1d6, and then you purchase another d6, and so on. So there's a few things. One of the things that I had a hard time kind of piecemeal up into bits is the fact that you can when you want to go from sorcerers, if you learn spells, you learn individual spells and fill a slot. Like, I can cast this spell once a day. But then you can learn to memorize. That's the big thing. That costs like 600 X.
Right.
So that is the heavy one to go from that one. But it was hard. I thought about doing it per spell level. That's another one of doing it. So to simply say, yeah. So that's one of the big ones. That's like a fighter investing in learning all the weapon groups, for instance. So if you want to be the best, then you have to sacrifice and spend it, or learn all the different armors, for instance. And stuff. So that's what I'm trying to do. So when you learn, you you pay XP. So when you earn XP, you spend that on learning things, and then you can make a learn roll, or you can be taught by someone, or you can try to figure it out yourself.
Right.
Those are the way, and then you spend some time on it. And if you have someone training it, you can say, I'm working on learning this thing, and then when you level up, you learn it, so to speak.
I like it.
Yeah, that's my base in the system. So it's not for beginners, because class, I think if you start playing D&D or any fantasy role-playing, class is an excellent way of getting with the game, and you will not end up with a dud of a character, so to speak, and so on. So to begin with, I think it's excellent. For a lot of different types of play, it's still fantastic. But for me, in my care, and the story to guide what the characters learn, not the rule book and what you came up with 6 years ago when we came up with the session 0. Yeah, your desire as a player at the time.
6-year campaign's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I've had 12-year
Not the
campaigns
J,
is the
but
longest. Yeah. Oh yeah, but us mere mortals, so to
right?
speak.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
Those of us not on the amount. You know,
exactly.
Looking up.
Yeah.
So I don't want to shortchange either of these books, because like it's $9.50 already. Right?
Oh yeah.
But that's okay. It's good. It's a Saturday night. You know, we're having fun.
Yeah.
And Roger Kim Mohan was Roger's mentor, so maybe more about these and go into a little depth and have the discussion just on those 2 books.
They were iconic, and they expanded the game so much in through the 3rd edition. Glad can't understand what a big difference what they added. These 2 books expanded the game. I mean, there were no rules for outdoor play. Everything was supposed to be in a dungeon, and then we're just supposed to travel.
What did it say in the original box set? It's like, if you want to go outside, go and buy
yeah.
Oh God, what was board? It was some board game.
Yeah.
It's like, go buy that, because that's what we use.
The majority of my games outside now.
Yeah.
My gaming on the tables outdoors.
Yeah. And then came Wilderness Engineer's Guide, also took things, they took the environment, became interesting. That had never been part of the game. It was all about the puzzles and the traps and the spell that went up in your face and so on.
For sure.
So that 3rd giveaway, I'm going to do an Oculus, which is a green Titan dice set for all the.
You want to give away one of my? I just got in print the Echoes of a Dark.
Yes. Let me. Oh man, do I have a here? Let me throw that up.
I should send you some.
When you get a chance, no big deal.
Yeah.
Here it is. Oh, I found it. We're gonna do this. I'm sorry. We're doing it.
I'll do a hard copy.
We're doing a hard copy. All right. So we're doing 4 giveaways.
I got a copy of it.
Yeah.
And I went through and I was like, no, it's what I like to call the Elder layout, because it's very well. Everything's in large print.
So for us people who can't read
exactly, I was like, wow.
Great.
And the thing I was thinking about is like, well, am I going to send this back and shrink it down some? And I was like, no, because it's like 80 some, almost 90 pages. I was like, well, I could shrink it down. I never really rack up the price on these anyway. So it's not, I was charging you for like a 40-page adventure.
Awesome.
So
4 giveaways. One of these in print. Oculus dice, Titan dice set, $10 gift certificates, Troller Games digital. All right, there you go. So we got 4 giveaways on this. All right, so look, and it started off. If you weren't here for the beginning, please note, Bigby is a freaking gnome now.
Yep.
Okay?
Is he?
Oh, you haven't. You weren't here for the beginning.
Exactly. You're like me. I didn't know what the discussion was. Yeah, it's
Will wasn't here for that part. Yes.
Yeah.
They turned Big Yeah, and look, here's the actual Big B
Whatever.
miniature. Yeah, oh my god, dude. Yeah, look.
Well, I don't buy anything from Wizards of the Coast anymore anyway. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter to
Yeah.
me.
So
I just wanted to say we had the Wilderness Guy and Dungeon Dungeoneer Survival Guide. But anyone remember one of the first really bad products that Wizards of the Coast did for fourth edition? That was the epitome. It was this book, the Dungeon Survival Guide, and it looks. This is so
Ooh.
cool! It's an awesome book. Look how thick it is. It's
Yeah.
don't quit.
It was a minuscule little book, and it
I
was
even got followers out of
ridiculous.
this.
It didn't have, and it was just art and hardly no mechanics. It had a little bit of text in it,
Don't
and
get me started.
this was the most beautiful disaster that Wizards of the Coast had ever done as a product. It looked gorgeous, and it was wrapped in a really cool cover and whatever, and the product images looks awesome. It was a complete dud as a product. It was ridiculous. Anyone who'd been through third edition could see what crap this was. It was
Right.
nothing. It was fancy art with just a tiny. It was 10% of the D20 glut, of one book from a D20 glut, and I forgot
That's
how much it
terrible.
was, but it was kind of an omen of how it shouldn't be done, so to speak. So yeah.
They just jacked up the price.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, and this
So-
was sold as a full price,
$70
almost.
for a
So here's what I wrote on Twitter. Real quick, laughing aloud. Big B is a gnome. What is wrong with you, Wizards? Chris Perkins, Jeremy Crawford. Do you know your Greyhawk lore? Retcons just a spoof. It's not. This is
No.
your Highlander 2. If you want some
Yeah,
good
I like
ideas,
that.
reach out to me. Here's some of the replies. Susan replied.
Ooh.
Okay, which is, everyone knows who Rich. Are you saying that just because Bigby was an actual character played by Gary and was not a gnome, we cannot change it? Next, you will be saying people will be unhappy with making character movies. Right, okay. Now, Rich, Zombie has a stupid Critical Role again because the gnome in Critical Role uses Bigby hand spells every 5 minutes. So, Critical Role did it. They turned him into a gnome. That's
I would disagree with that, and this is the only reason.
Okay.
Wizards of the Coast and Critical Role are not friends anymore.
Okay.
They might not be open, sharing their dirty laundry out in the open, but they do not like each other anymore.
Look at all these great responses. Surely
Yeah.
that's something about this pick keeps me thinking fabric softener. I can't explain it. Yeah, the Gillette Cube put this up. Put the stats up for Big B out of the Rogues Gallery. I hate this art so much. Small B. Wait, there's a real funny one. Why are you disrespecting Highlander 2 like that? That's not as bad as what Watsy is doing to the Dungeons and Dragons game.
That
But
is awesome. That is awesome.
Eat to Surf had a good comment that the fourth edition DM's Guide is a good book. It is. It's a great DM's Guide. It's one of the best ones in any edition of D&D.
Actually, it's considered to be probably the best. Actually, right after Gygax.
Yep. It's a really good book. So thank you for that comment, Eat to Surf. That's very true. So that was and I think the Manual of the Planes and Draconomicon, that was 2 volumes of that in 4 books too.
Yeah.
Yep.
My personal opinion on all this, Jay, is that they just they're putting distance as the more distance they can put between the founders of the game and themselves, because it is considered a problem. They do that, and because they have no appreciation for the lineage of the game. I mean, you can take the biggest of that is when the 50th anniversary of role playing as we know it happened, which is not this coming one.
Right.
When Dave Arneson started playing his Blackmore campaign, came and went, not a peep. Whenever the anniversary of like Dave Arneson's passing or Gygax Day happens, there's not a peep. They don't associate or anything, and that I think is the real problem when it comes to Wizards of the Coast. It's not so much their corporate tactics and stuff. That's business. Business is okay, but not acknowledging your forefathers and where the game came from well, that's just mean. Is really what it is.
Yeah, and I also think it's
mean,
bad business because
It's
I think
huge
it would
bad
actually bring people 50 plus have a tendency of living for another 30 years on average,
Mhm.
which means that we are a good market and we also have a lot of disposable income.
Yeah, we
so
are the ones with the money, right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
okay.
The
Yeah.
thing that people don't understand that are new to the industry is like,
Thank you for the follow.
I posted up, I forget where it was, but I was poking fun at 5th edition players. Now I'm a 5th edition player, so I'm poking fun at myself, I guess, a little bit. Can't wait for 5th edition to become an OSR game in reference to the coming out of 6th edition.
Right.
Like, and you're like, oh, and it's like, no, you're about to get your first your first
edition
new edition,
change.
and you're going to be part to the first schism
Yeah,
from
that's
this
true.
new players that are
It's like
coming
in life when you go through your first, you lose your first boyfriend or girlfriend, and you have to have that loss. It's the same thing as a role player when big thing in your gaming career, and you have to get over it and live with it. Yeah.
They're going to start just don't care about you and yours. It's fine. It's no big deal. I mean,
no, but it is a big deal if you never experienced before, and it's going to be a huge
it will be
deal.
to them.
No, we've done it 4 times now, or 5 times.
I think
yeah.
of that
saying
meme
thank you
of James Franco where he's getting hung and he looks over at the other guy and he's like, first time, huh? It's basically the same thing.
Yep.
It's
We've seen it. This movie played out 5 times or something. Yep.
So note the following: you're going to hear more from me because I'm just going to. Who am I? I'm nobody.
Yeah, but
I'll be respectful. But I will. I'm.
Good trolling. This is fantastic.
Just note, they have given me the idea for forget Child's Play. That's Child's Play. The adventuring party is going to sidestep into Watsy's Greyhawk, right? And it's going to be Bizarro Land.
Yep. Now we can have fun doing it.
Yeah, we're gonna have and trust me, and it's gonna be a spoof of
yeah,
of course, Eat to Surf, they do count. So look, we had a fun discussion tonight out with us on a Saturday night during a holiday weekend because I am booked up tomorrow, and that family came first.
You did the mistake of inviting both of us to.
This is great.
We went into big
right?
tent.
It's like
everyone
string myself.
Less than I had to talk. So and note, Tim got wife hijacked, everyone. But this is the good thing. We didn't even talk about these books. We have another topic for another time.
There you go.
I got to get Doug. If I can get Doug and Roger.
Fantastic.
So,
because I want to know the backstory about this book and what the pitfall.
I can't do it any justice. I don't even own those books. That's how
I've
bad
owned them, and
I've held them, but I don't own them.
And as a perspective, I put. Oh, hang on a second here.
Vampire Novel.
We have
funny.
3rd edition. This is just a little bit, and we have 3rd edition equivalent. We have from Legend.
They're not bad. They're not bad books.
Yeah, it is a Fantasy Flight Games and Escape. Wizard of the Coast book. We had a really cool one. Cities had this is for urban environments.
That's something that they should do.
Exactly. This is a great
more and more.
Yeah, these books are really, all of these are really, really good. And then you had Storm Rack, that was stuff. And then you had another one was Sandstorm. And I think there was one stuff somewhere that I might have that I'm not sure if it rings a bell somewhere, but I didn't find it right away when I went through it. But so 3rd edition had environmentally
Cityscape
rules.
Would be great.
Oh yeah, they were
I need
fantastic.
to get a hold of that. There's so much 3rd edition stuff. Oh jeez.
There is one that I remember now that is really, really cool. This book, Heroes of Battle, meaning
I think
if you play military, how do you survive in the battlefield? And how do you use siege weapons and Frostburn? Thank you.
That would be great for.
I have Frostburn somewhere.
A mercenary campaign. I want to do a Black Company campaign. And not sort of.
That's
so this one has rules for like siege weapons and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That
so
is so
third
awesome.
edition is the, I think when it comes to stuff like the Wilderness Guide and Dungeoneers, third edition is where you should look. It has the coolest stuff in that
Probably
department.
a hell of a lot more affordable. I'll tell you that.
And,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
well, some of those,
Well,
just like
maybe
anything
No,
not.
but you
else,
can get these as PDFs, I
yeah,
think, from
PDFs,
places. Yeah.
and they're
Mhm.
not Watson
I
written.
make that a print on demand, but
Yeah.
we'll see
Yeah.
what happens when the guild is going to go away, and it's going to go away
Yes.
relatively soon.
Oh
Yeah, but
yeah, so
not-
It could
grab
be-
whatever you can.
Just sword and sorcery books and stuff.
No, but
no,
Wizard of
no.
the Coast stuff will
Yeah.
will
Wizard,
disappear.
yeah. Well, DM's RPGs partnership
Right.
with Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast is beyond. So when they do that, you'll still have drive through, and it'll have all the
Yep.
other role playing stuff will be there. Just none of the D&D stuff
Yeah.
will be there.
Yeah.
So,
But,
But-
hey,
I can find Frostburn here. It should be here somewhere because I know I
So-
have it. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah.
Will, shout out some things and talk about your adventure.
let me the adventure that you're giving away, Echoes of a Dark Past, is set in, it is inspired by Greyhawk and the Frostwood. So there
Absolutely.
it is another low level campaign. I have to write a higher level campaign. That's the next thing I'm going to end up doing. Well, adventure, I mean. And essentially it is a setup for basically it's dealing with dark druids, undead,
Yes.
strangeness, and wild elves, all within the Frostwood. Okay.
That's awesome.
And essentially it deals with the forest road, which is a track that goes through the woods that is used by smugglers and hunters to get around traveling taxes. And so
That's good.
there's a little town called Lone Rock in the forest, and there's some trouble, and the party, they'll go through and they have choices to make. Like all my adventures, there's no clear cut win or lose in there.
Well,
And
relink
so-
it on Drive. Relink it in chat, please.
Sure, I'll relink it in
And
chat.
just know we're giving away their email. What do they need from you?
Yep. So basically, if
Okay.
you win, then just go ahead and message me.
Right. It's
Yeah,
going to be
and
the
all
hard
I
copy
need is
book. Yeah.
Yep, and all I need is your email address. Should be the one. If you have a Drive-Thru RPG account, use that email. If you don't, it doesn't matter that email when I send out the coupon to, regardless.
Awesome.
But if you don't
No.
want to connect it to that. So as far as other stuff I'm doing stat blocks on the Dragon's Horde for Chuck. Then I have to send it over to him. I have to try and
Nice.
pin him down.
Thanks, Alex.
And then I'm doing like tonight I'm going to be drawing. Rich, they were I gave a bunch of my art permission for Greyhawk Visionaries to use my art in their publications, and then they're like, hey, you want to do some artwork for the Low Road? And I'm like, all right, I can do a couple of pieces
Love
here
it.
and there, you know. And so I talked with David and Rich about what they would like to see, and I started doing it. I had to turn down Gary. Gary asked me to that some people asked me to do a picture of his article coming up, and I was like, I already committed to these other pieces, and I got to fit it in.
People were respecting what you're doing and asking you.
Mhm.
Though. That's cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I just basically told him, it's like I was, and if we got to get on a schedule, so like 2 months out, then I can work it into everything else I'm doing, because I still gotta. There's my Patreon, you know, the Greyhawk project, which I do. That's where all of the cleric archetypes, druids are next. I've got 2 more clerics to do, and then we're going into the druids. I've already done dark druid. Dark druid's already up there, and that's more of a monster, I guess.
Also, note Rob Kuntz's original Dark Druids for 1E is available on PDF finally.
Mhm.
oh,
Okay?
is it really?
Exactly.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to get
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I have my the Patreon, and that's enough for right now. I've always, of course, got more and more projects coming up. I figured what I'm going to do is I'm going to start writing. I have to figure out the name of it, but I'm going to do a halfling village, very much like I did Ravensrook. So essentially, it's going to take place in article format. I'll release an article on the Patreon about it, and then I'll
Elfshire.
take it and put it together.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
I guess I could do Elmshire, but Elmshire's already been done. That's the thing,
Well,
right?
I mean, Elmshire is the freaking Sicily of
You
Greyhawk.
got that
It's
right.
been
It
abused
gets
100
beat
times.
up all the time.
Mom, I abused the hell out of that place as
So
well. So
I
yeah,
know there's a write up in the Greyhawk book.
it's
There were
not.
no maps or anything though, and
There's
it was
one
a
map
brief
in
overview.
Roger Moore's book. There's one map. It's not a
Okay,
big map. It's not very detailed, but there is a map of Elmshire in The Adventure Begins.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's the next thing I was going to do. It's in the planning stages, so that's about it.
Cool.
That as of yet. So I think
Gnomeshire.
that's everything. Gnomeshire.
Well, I appreciate you hopping on last second.
Sure.
Tim
Yeah.
Tim got wife hijacked, and that was a great discussion. Thank you for all the input, as always. You need to make a halfling barge folk village. Huh.
Ooh.
Halfling barge. Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I've got the notorious Bray clan, which are my halfling,
Mhm.
and they were doing bootlegging operations out of Luskin, and they were working with the Renee. There you go.
It's
That's an
interesting.
adventure. That's an
Yeah.
adventure right there.
So
Uh-oh.
you could also do the Halfling Thieves Guild from the Phineas Fingers. I'm just kidding.
Yep.
The evil. They're real more foul
Spunk,
than evil.
right?
No, that Spunk is Roger Moore's article.
Oh no,
Spunk
the
is Midgets in
Phineas
Fingers.
Yeah.
And they're always
The
fighting.
cartoon.
Phineas is always fighting the Thieves Guild. Yeah.
I have the collected of that. That's one of my prized possessions.
It is. It's an awesome possession to have. So grind the anti-paladin, everything. It's just.
Well, it's hard to get a hold of that.
Absolutely. So, Anna, what's up?
Tomorrow we will have the next session in. I think I haven't had any people. I think we're all set to go tomorrow. We will usually get on Zoom and stuff about 10:30, and then we will probably start the stream closer to 11 once people are lined up and stuff, because it's basically a streamed home game, so it's a little bit iffy on that side, so to speak. So they're coming to Crit Wall, and we getting in and stuff. So anyone who I've been working on the city hall and a bunch of buildings and stuff in Crit Wall for this, and I've been mapping Crit Wall really getting into that, as well as Altamira. I basically used Crit Wall as a testing ground to work out the techniques on how to city map, so I can do it properly, so to speak. That's my Sheila has been my testing ground all along on the technical side, in order to make maps work in the new generation of maps, so to speak. So it's been really, I'm really getting into city mapping now. I really
Nice.
like it.
It's awesome.
It's kind of fun. I have a whole bunch of city projects I want to do, including, well, yeah, I've spilled bean. I was on being interviewed by the Nerdy Guide to
Yes,
D&D
you
today.
just-
It was awesome fun. It was great, and I spilled the beans there that what I want to launch at GaryCon next year is to start mapping the city of Greyhawk. I think that
Nice.
next year is the time to start that project. And Altamira and my Shieldland project is the way to, so I figure out how to do it technically, have the know-how to do it. I have the hardware to do it, and I have the tools to do it. So now I know I can do it on a technical standpoint. So that's when I will want to launch mapping the city of Greyhawk, doing my version of it the way I think it should be done, so to speak. And Critwall will be test runs for it, so to speak. Or Critwall is the test run, and the Altamira is the first real production run of a city. And that's when I feel that it's time to start tackling the big beast, so to speak. Meaning, if you map Greyhawk, you have to get to the city. And I just want to do it, so to speak. I want to make it justice. So yeah, try to.
So note, Mike is not around on Wednesday, and so it's Anna and me only, and we think we have a topic, but that's our next stream.
Yeah, we have some of these scholarly things we can do too if we want to, but we might stay away from them because I don't have enough time to prep. I'm down to single-digit days. It's 9 days now until I leave for Europe. So I'm starting to pack and do a lot of things. I got all my passports and all my green cards and all that sorted out. So it's just packing.
So we got a TBD, but we got a topic, and I'll put that out like Monday or Tuesday. Just note, So, because I messed up on the adventure numbers, Nerdy Guide was set up as they were inside, they were great. They were great players and young and really enthusiastic. They never played 1E 2E before. They're all 5E players, and it was really cool. And it turned out one of my great tricks, a half elven female child was stolen. It was stolen by a fox woman, and they went along, and it was pretty fun. And that happened. But venture number 1001, which we repose, and that's what that picture was. That continues Thursday, and we'll finish that up. So that is happening with the Huntsman. But so we have that Thursday, but then Saturday's the big one. All right, our 1,000th time Saturday morning. I'm gonna run an ode. It's not gonna. Thank you, Shattered. It's not gonna be a dungeon crawl of. I can want to fit this in 8 to 9 hours, so it's gonna be
inspired
and with some tricks and some fun and Tim says he's even going to be here, so I'm going to have all my players here.
Wow, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, and it's just going to start at 9 a.m. and we're going to finish when we finish, maybe as late as 6-7 p.m. that night. We're just playing, and the whole thing will be streamed. Thanks. And Troller Games is doing a giveaway every hour of the stream. Now I may be putting it in and doing it, but every hour Troller Games will be doing some sort of giveaway. All right, just note that. So, and that'll be number 1,000 officially. I just started putting the ads out tonight, this afternoon, so you'll get to see that. And then in the future, coming up, the Saturday after on a night game starting at 6 p.m. Ed Greenwood, Eric Boyd, Eric Mengi from 2 Drink Minimum, Mandy, Bones, Darling, and Myriad from the Slav Squad crossover event. I doubt there'll be any sexual innuendo jokes with all these people. Just kidding. So no, it'll be a fun time here. I'll be planning for this after the 1,000th adventure, but I have a feeling they'll be seriously challenged. And then the night after that, this is the old one. This is the old ad. Eric. Oh my God, Eric Mona is my co-host that night for a Gabbin Sunday night, June 11th. On the Savage Tide Adventure Path. So there you go. So that's what she said exactly. Here we go. Now let's do these 4 giveaways. Tell me what you want. If you don't and you're on lurking, you're gonna get a $10 gift certificate because people are on. They're gonna, you know what I mean. Everyone will win something as long as you're in the call. 10 seconds, exclamation point drawing, and I'll get this going. And then we're raiding the DM Jeremy tonight. And the reason is he's running Hidden Shrine of Tomoacon, and he's doing a fundraiser at the same time. All right? So, good for him. Closing this out. Let me go to the right place here. I'm sorry about the lag all night, and I thank you all for persevering. First winner. Pat 66. Pat 66. Are you on there? If you want, you have your choice of the 2 $10 gift certificates, the Titan Dice green set, or the book from Will for Echoes of a Dark Past. Pat, what would you like? You tell me. What do you want? You got it. So Pat 66. You will put your name in there. So
I'm gonna put.
Yeah, he's gonna message you, Pat, and then you're going to give him your email address so that he can send you the link up so you can get that hard copy. Grats. We got Tim. Sadly, Tim. Grats. Do you want the Titan Dice, which I'm assuming you do, or 10? Tim, I should have your address. So Tim, grats. By the way, Tim is brother-in-law of Pop.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, you just Tim. Is
Oh
that
yeah,
what you
then I
want, Tim?
know who. Yep.
Yeah, Tim's been Gary Con the last 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So.
Yep.
Dice. Titan Dice. Last 2 are $10 gift certificates. And we got Celtic Boar, and we got Damn Weirdo Wing. Gotchas. I will get them over to you via. I have both of your Discords, so you both will get them. Please sit tight and say hello and follow DM Jeremy. He's an old schooler too. He goes by. He's got a different Twitch. He's got a different Instagram handle. So, all right. And thanks all.
Yes. Hey, hold on one second. Pat's in here because you have Whisper Block. So,
Pat, Whisper Block.
Message me. Okay, I'm Giant Stomp.
Message
01.
Steinstop01 there, Pat.
Send
All
me
right.
your email.
Thank you. We will have 4 streams this week, 4 streams next week,
Mhm.
going up to the vacation time. So let's raid into DM Jeremy there and have a great night and enjoy your holiday weekend. I'll be barbecuing. I got a whole bunch of Stella Artois ciders ready. Yes, so we're cranking here. Enjoy. See you all soon. All right, setting the raid up. If Pat has an issue, I have his Discord too. Well, I can.
Okay. Yeah, it hasn't come through as of yet. Once you give me
Yeah. All right. Nice number 5. Again, see you Wednesday.
Oh, it just came through.
All right, good.
Yeah.